What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
5FC. Chapter 103. Red Hair heads to Naval Headquarters. Advertisement. Aokiji Kuzan left Marine in this battle. Marine's current Marshal Buddha Sengoku has officially stepped down as Marshal, and Akainu has officially taken over. But this is not exaggerated enough. Marine was promoted to 2 new Admiral during the World Conscription. Fujitora smiled and Green Bull. On the other hand, after removing most of the original Shichibukai, now even more powerful pirates have joined the new Shichibukai lineup. One Piece crew member, Douglas Bullet, known as the heir of the devil. Legend has it that one person is the same famous big pirate as Roger, Golden Lion, and Whitebeard, the lonely red Leadfield. Whitebeard too, Edward Wable, who claimed to be the son of Whitebeard. The owner of New World Golden Casino, Disolo, who claims to have 20% of the world's wealth. These guys have been recruited to be called the new Shichibukai. In addition, Blackbeard Teach, Storm Coon Bear, etc. once again formed 6 Shichibukai forces. There was a lot of discussion everywhere, and the changes in power that were enough to affect the world were enough to shock everyone's heart. The original Shichibukai and even the world's #1 swordsman have joined the White Lion League. It's 640. Now there is the Whitebeard pirate group. It has even disappeared for decades. The legendary flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki has appeared and joined the White Lion League. This is to set off an unprecedented pirate and marine. Is there a big battle? Marine has recruited a group of even more amazing big sea pirates, Lonely and Red. How long has this name been in the world? How powerful is this White Lion Xia Xing? It can attract so many powerful people to join. Even Whitebeard and Golden Lion are in an alliance. Almost all places are discussing this turmoil in shock, and even the supernovae inevitably side in all kinds of discussions. Golden Lion is the strongest person who was called the strongest more than 20 years ago. After disappearing, Whitebeard is also the strongest person for 20 years, and now, the White Lion is the strongest in the world. The 3 strongest characters of the era have joined together. Hawkins didn't even have the desire to occupy the tower, and said with a sigh, shocked in his heart. In addition to the major changes in Marine and the formation of the new Shichibukai, it is really hard to say who will win and who will win. After all, the real shot of the White Lion Xia Xing is that no one has seen it. Know it. Various hidden characters have appeared, and the world is getting more and more interesting. Advertisement. Captain Kidd is even more excited. If this war really starts, even if Marine wins, it must be an era when the pirates are more active, and the world's strongest throne may be vacated. White Lion Xia Xing, no matter how strong it is to face such a huge war, it can't be intact. We should enter the new world faster to keep up with the pace of the times. Hiro was deeply shocked by the changes in the White Lion's alliance and Marine. Whitebeard twisted gate to join the White Lion Xia Xing subordinate. What an incredible thing. What kind of attraction does this White Lion have? In this time of change, almost all of these forces, which are already the pinnacle of the world, are undergoing tremendous changes, and they are far from being touched by the immature pirates. In Tsubayati Archipelago, a white-haired old man with a big back comb was walking out of the store where he was ripped off with a backpack on his back. Are you not afraid of Uzumaki who got involved in this world again? Shaki took a deep cigarette, with a tone of reluctance. Today's new world can be described as the Uzumaki of the world. It depends on the situation. The fellow Roger, who left his bloodline and never mentioned it to the old man, just went to his death vigorously. Besides, even Whitebeard Twisting Gate and the Golden Lion who swallowed the world have joined the White Lions. It is really incredible. To what extent can this White Lion Xia Xing face this situation? Rayleigh's tone was also deeply shocking. These old guys were all making noise one by one. If you don't take a look at the blood of this brother, you might not have a chance. It's up to you, and it's safe. Shaki naturally understands Rayleigh's original intention, and he also has an understanding heart. Roger's son, he couldn't worry about letting it go in this war that broke out at any time. In the uproar of the world, news spread everywhere. On the White Lion Island, Xia Xing hasn't changed much, no matter who he is with. However, Golden Lion Shiki and Whitebeard showed inexplicable smiles after they twisted their covers. Doflamingo, Gecko Moria and others are worried a lot. In all, the number of powerful people on the side of the world government is still much stronger than that of the White Lions alliance. Advertisement. And it is said that these 2 new Admiral have monster-like strength. Now in the sea not far from the Red Line, Red Force. Shanks, the redhead who learned the news, also had a headache. The trend of war is getting faster and faster. Ben Beckman also frowned, a little worried about the current situation. It's not that they have noble ideals as pirates, but that these people are all guys who can cause devastating damage to the world. When a real war begins, who knows what irreversible things will be caused in the ocean where everyone survives. Influence. At this time, a seemingly ordinary boat approached in. A man in a white suit and mask jumped directly onto the reed, and when Usopp and others realized that they wanted to stop, the red-haired Shanks waved to stop it. This is Mariajoy's CP unit, the guy from CP0. Your Excellency Shanks, the adults invite you over. The CP0 didn't know the specific identity, he ignored the others, but respectfully said to the red-haired Shanks. 5 elders actually invited me over. Did they forget that I am a pirate now? Shanks chuckled lightly, and the friends around obviously knew why CP0 was polite to the boss, they just watched quietly. The adults said they have important things to say to you. Even if CP0 is stared by the red-haired group, it is extremely uncomfortable, without the slightest sense of security. Each of these guys is full of combat effectiveness. Boss, going to meet next. Usopp and others all looked at the red-haired Shanks. Even to see 5 elders is not 100% safe, which still needs to be considered. Go see you, maybe you can take the opportunity to persuade you to give it a try. Shanks and Ben Beckman looked at each other, and both thought it would be better to go there. As long as 5 elders gives up the pursuit of the White Lion, it may be able to resolve this undercurrent war. Chapter 104. Aokiji and White Lion met. Advertisement. I will go with you. Ben Beckman also wanted to travel with him at this time. Sorry, only His Excellency Shanks can go there alone. CPO also directly blocked Dao at this time. The red hair has a special relationship, and other people are not qualified to enter the holy place, let alone such a dangerous pirate. It's okay, I'll just go, let's go. The redhead Shanks didn't say anything, but started directly with CP0. It is not far from the Holy Land Mariajoy and Naval Headquarters. CP0 did not go to Mariajoy with red hair, but went directly to Marineford. Until here, the red-haired Shanks was stunned to find that in the inner bay of Marineford, Big Mom and Guy, many pirate boats were docked. Nowadays, because of the presence of the 5 elders, the people in the deep leisure and others have been cleared away. Otherwise, the banner of the 4 emperors has appeared in front of the fortress known as Justice. What an incredible thing. It seems that they have formed an alliance. Shanks' eyes moved, and he was secretly surprised. Is he really so impatient to deal with Xia Xing? While thinking, he was led directly into the meeting room of the fortress. Now in the meeting room, there are new Shichibukai such as Red Earl and Bullet. The new 3 Admiral, Fujitora, Green Bull, Kizaru, and the new Marshal Akainu. The 5 people in the first seat are the 5 elders. As for Garp and Sengoku not present, both of them submitted resignations to Kong after Punk Hazard's negotiation, and because of their special identities, they were not allowed to leave Marine in this way. Backed up. Everyone in the conference room also turned their heads and looked at the past for the first time, looking at the red-haired Shanks who appeared at this time with a little surprise. Among the 4 emperors, 3 appeared here. Blackbeard Teach saw the red-haired Shanks with a broken arm walk in and smiled. It can be said that there is a lot of grievances between them, and the scratches on the red hair's eyes are still caused by him. As for Kaido, Bigmom, Bullet and others, they can't help but be stunned. Red Taro, it's been a long time since I saw you. Bullet naturally knew the new trainees on the ship, and now the 4 emperors on the sea. If he joins, the winning side will really be greater, and he immediately greeted with a little surprise. Advertisement. Bullet really hasn't seen it for a long time. The redhead Shanks also nodded and greeted Bullet, also feeling a bit complicated. Seriously, Bullet used to be one of his partners. When he was on the same boat, his relationship with him was pretty good, but he finally chose to leave. Roger's straw hat was given to him, why didn't he wear it? When Earl Red saw the two greeting each other, he also remembered and said something. The 3-4 emperors plus Marine, this win is not so big. Big Mom and Kaido also expressed their joy at this time. The bigger the lineup that can beat the White Lions, the happier they are, not to mention the pirates instead of Marine. Redhead Shanks can show up, and they won't mind. 3 Admiral also looked at the red hair in surprise. He actually appeared here too. Logically speaking, this guy should be on the side of Whitebeard, right? But what they didn't expect was that the red-haired Shanks didn't pay attention to them when they came in, but looked at 5 elders. The 5 elders saw the red-haired Shanks coming in and motioned with their jaws. The red-haired Shanks didn't bother to talk to Kaido and Big Mom. Seeing that they were sitting in the Naval Headquarters conference room, he couldn't help but hum to himself. When I saw Blackbeard Teach, my eyes condensed. If it was encountered outside like this, Shanks would even attack directly without hesitation. Teach glared fiercely, and Teach snorted uncomfortably. Giving up chasing and killing the White Lion Xia Xing, there is no need to start this war that swept all the forces in the sea. Redhead Shanks glanced at it and immediately began to persuade him. The meaning was clear, everyone just stopped. This kind of persuasion meant that Red Earl, Bullet, Kaido and Bogmom did not expect that they all converged and looked at the red-haired Shanks. The redhead boy didn't come to join them, so how did he come in to meet 5 elders? What everyone didn't expect was that Shanks was invited by 5 elders, and they didn't have the idea of adding him to the lineup. That's what the Lord meant. The 5 elders didn't respond in particular to Shanks's redhead, but just stuffed it with a very ordinary sentence. Seeking flowers Advertisement. The red-haired Shanks' eyes couldn't help but the look in the eyes, the Lord, Yim. This person did not know how many years he had survived and had an inextricable relationship with him. Shanks had a hesitant look on his face, and he didn't know how to say it for a while. If you don't want to disappoint that adult, even if you don't join this war, don't help the opposing team's lineup. Just stay calm. The 5 elders also sighed secretly in their hearts, and then said to the red-haired Shanks in general. After all, Shanks has been on Roger's pirate ship since he was a child, and he is still a pirate, and also 4 emperors. With these words, Kaido, Bigmom, Red Earl, Bullet, and even Blackbeard Teach, who had been an opponent for a long time, didn't know, and looked at the red-haired Shanks in amazement. The 5 elders nodded, and it seemed that the White Lion was going to fight to the end. Wu Lao is the White Lion's eyeliner. After finishing speaking, Regardless of the complex color of Shanks, the red-haired, he turned his head and asked in the shadows. 0. 5 elders said with light eyes. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Lu Chi was expressionless and reported to the 5 elders. How is the situation on the White Lions Alliance? Master Luki, unexpected circumstances, the original Marine Admiral Aokiji has now landed on White Lion Island. Lu Chi took out the phone worm and first asked the 5 elders for instructions. The other 3 Admiral, Kaido, and BIGMOM also think so. Yes. As soon as the CPO's eyeliner got on the phone and confirmed his identity, he immediately reported the new news. 0. Everything is the same over there. Even now that Marine's news has spread, there is no intention of fleeing at all, and the entire island has even been expanded. Just pick it up here. At this time, another guy in a white suit walked out. He didn't wear a mask on his face, he was the original CP9 Lu Chi. Obviously, this guy has a deep relationship with the adult in the Holy Land Mariajoy, which can be seen from the attitude of the 5 elders at the peak of power to him. At this time, the phone worm on Lu Chi's body rang from Brubers. Chapter 105. Aokiji brings even more amazing news. Advertisement. And this news instantly made everyone present in awe. Kuzan actually appeared there after leaving Marine. Is there another heavyweight opponent to be added to the White Lion's side? Kuzan. This guy really went to the White Lion's place. Akainu Sakazuki frowned, his fist pressed tightly. Teacher Zephyr also went there, and the White Lion Xia Xing is also there, so Aokiji will definitely go there too if Aokiji quits. As expected. And at this time, on the other side of White Lion Island, Aokiji Kuzan, who approached the island leisurely on a bicycle, was directly spotted by various pirates watching. Who can freeze the sea as if walking on the ground, who else besides that Aokiji? But saying that Aokiji had withdrawn from Marine, there was no threat. The pirates didn't trust him, and immediately reported the past to Whitebeard's history of 64-0. After all, this is the former Admiral Aokiji. All of a sudden, the original Shichibukai such as Doflamingo, Jinbei, Moria, etc. came out. Even Whitebeard Twisted Gate and Golden Lion Shiki also came out at this time. Boy Aokiji, stop, move on, you will be slaughtered. Whitebeard Twisted Gate and said directly to Aokiji, with no good attitude in his tone. Golden Lion Shiki sneered directly. Hey, don't get excited, guys, I just came to meet Xia Xing, my former colleague, the White Lion. I am not from Marine anymore. Aokiji's attitude was very peaceful, and seeing so many people rushing out at once, feeling very helpless, he quickly raised his hands and explained. How long is it? You quit Marine and came here directly. Do you think we will believe you? Former Admiral Aokiji. Golden Lion Shiki was even more skeptical and said unceremoniously. Is your purpose only that simple? Jinbei and others felt that Aokiji came too suddenly, and they felt unreliable in their hearts. As for Aokiji, it's okay to let him pass, but just meet Xia Xing. At this time, Zephyr also came out and said to everyone. Teacher Zephyr. Aokiji was also relieved, finally someone helped him speak. Advertisement. Whitebeard and Golden Lion didn't say anything about Zephyr's face, but the former Shichibukai and others like Doflamingo and Moria still refused to let Aokiji in. A Logia fruit ability is still too dangerous. Everyone understood the threat of Aokiji Kuzan and spoke. The atmosphere completely smelt of gunpowder. Zephyr was not such a good talker to pirates, and Doflamingo and others did not show any weakness. Suddenly, the sword was about to rise. Let Aokiji in, it's okay. At this time, Xia Xing's voice came directly from the villa in the center. At this time, the atmosphere was completely settled down, and Doflamingo and others could only get away. Aokiji smiled and greeted Teacher Zephyr embarrassedly. Then a group of people followed Aokiji Kuzan directly to the villa. At this time, Xia Xing was holding the gamepad and playing the game sent by Whitebeard. He said without turning his head. How did you come? I've played with fire, and there is nowhere to go after losing. Wouldn't you mind coming here to have a fun? Aokiji gave a ha-ha, scratched his head, and sat down unceremoniously. Come on. Xia Xing chuckled lightly and threw the gamepad directly. This directly left Doflamingo, Jinbei, Hancock and others besides Shichibukai as well as Whitebeard Twisting Gate, Golden Lion Shiki all speechless. Don't you talk about other things. This is probably an undercover spy. Aokiji was not polite, but picked it up with great interest and played with Xia Xing. While playing, Aokiji Kuzan did not remain silent, but spoke. This time the world government's action is very large. The new 2 admirals, the new Shichibukai Bullet, the Lonely Red, and the powerful powerhouses of New World, the 2 new admirals are also really terrifying in strength. Quote. In addition to Kaido, BIGMOM, what is even more terrifying is that the old guys like the Army Commander Kong, and the 5 elders have all dispatched. The alliance between the pirates and Marine has been reached. Advertisement. While playing the game, Aokiji seemed to casually say the information he got before he left. Everyone only knows about Marine's big changes, but the members who are still unclear about the specific crusade over, after Aokiji Yuichi said, all their faces have changed drastically. Golden Lion Shiki was excited. This is the very decisive battle I want. The forces on the sea are like divided into 2 parts. It is best to fight a new world pattern. The others were shocked in their hearts. 5 elders, each of them has peak level combat effectiveness, and all 5 have been dispatched. It is completely conceivable what kind of strength level this is. After all, only 2 people were dispatched to deal with rocks. The more he speaks, the more solemn Aokiji's tone becomes. What is there to worry about? It's best to solve them all at once to avoid more trouble. After hearing Aokiji's words, Xia Xing still looked unmoved. Isn't what Aokiji said is the white lion stunt that stuns the powerful? Aokiji played the game as if attentively, but what he said made everyone's heart burst. Especially seeing Xia Xing's nonchalant look, I couldn't help but remind me. Even if it is expected, this is a stronger lineup than the worst. Doflamingo's whole body was ill in an instant, and his pupils trembled. 5 elders is not easy, they are powerful, even more fierce and powerful than 0.0 of you here. Sengoku, Garp, Kong, 3 Admiral, Akainu who is now promoted to Marshal, plus the new Shichibukai, there are powerful men such as Bullet, and even the legendary pirate, who is so lonely and red. Other people can't be underestimated. These words shocked the others completely. This is the level of combat power that can fight Whitebeard, Golden Lion one-on-one. Now, Doflamingo, Sand Crocodile, Gecko Moria and others all peeked at each other. Conqueror's Haki is covered with Armament Haki's unparalleled technique. Not only you can, 5 elders, everyone can. Isn't that this ability can only be used by the Sea Lord Rocks of the Year? Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. 5 elders Conqueror's Haki is also so powerful, not to mention that they will use this ability, or they will use all 5. Chapter 106. Pluton Rayleigh is here too. Advertisement. 5 elders may really have this ability. At this time, even Whitebeard Twisting Gate and Golden Lion Shiki provided evidence from the side. They are all witnesses who have experienced the Valley of Gods battle. The 2 who shot back then already have the top Conqueror's Haki. It is not surprising that they have reached the level of the White Lions with their current strength. Golden Lion Shiki also said with solemn thoughts. People like Jinbei, Crocodile, and Hancock were even more shocked. Armed with Conquerors is so powerful that they all have a deep experience. Xia Xing armed with Conqueror's Haki to suppress the 4 emperors can see 1 or 2. What a joke. 5 elders 5 cities, what a powerful force this is, it is enough to sweep the world. What should we do if it really attacks? Can we block it? Gecko Moria was really scared at this time, even now there are 2 legendary pirates, Whitebeard and Golden Lion, still insecure. Even a bit regretted by Doflamingo. Yan joined the White Lions League. Marco and Ace and others were equally shocked. They looked at Daddy Whitebeard 27, and then looked at Xia Xing, who was still playing the game untouched. Is this guy really so fearless? It doesn't matter, what about the armed conquerors? It doesn't matter how many people come. Haven't you seen me so many fierce people? They are all very strong. 1. Xia Xing was really playing attentively, and said to the Golden Lion Shiki, Whitebeard and others. At this moment, Aokiji Kuzan couldn't help but stroked his hair. Whitebeard and Golden Lion are indeed very strong, but now they are not enough for the world government to stuff their teeth. Glancing at the people behind him who were still shocked, Aokiji shook his head. As soon as this sentence was said, Ace, Marco, and Doflamingo and other original Shichibukai all heard very uncomfortable. It was said by Aokiji, the former Marine Admiral, that even the gap between the teeth was not enough, but he couldn't refute it. I have to admit that what Aokiji said was reality. The world government doesn't talk about the hidden power, but it is already known to the public, which is enough to make people frightened when they hear it. 5 elders. 5 top powerhouses who will use conquerors, Kong, Sengoku, Garp, 3 Admiral and Akainu. It's okay, I have confidence in a strong people. Advertisement. Xia Xing raised her head and glanced, then said lightly. This sentence made everyone couldn't help but feel so confident in them. So, Kuzan, are you on our side? Zephyr chuckled, leaning against the wall and said coolly. Ms. Zephyr, it seems we haven't been fighting side by side for a long time, right? Aokiji Kuzan looked at Zephyr with a smile at this time. The meaning is obvious, he came here to stand on this side. Suddenly, Aokiji said so many key pieces of information, plus the present statement, everyone also smiled in surprise. Doflamingo and others also chose to accept the arrival of Aokiji at this time. After all, this is a real admiral-level combat power. The new member joins, White Lion, I think I will just have a banquet to celebrate. Gu la la la. Xia Xing hadn't said much yet, Whitebeard Twisted Gat and Ace, Marco and these guys immediately took action, and immediately began to prepare for a banquet party. Come on, Kuzan, go on. Xia Xing was taken aback, then helplessly shook her head, greeted Aokiji to continue playing the game. In my heart, I was still thinking about how many people would come in on this island. The grand party started directly on the lawn outside Xia Xing's villa. The pirates on the island gathered one after another, and even some bold residents came over and were warmly invited by the pirates to eat and drink. Whitebeard Twisted Gat and the Golden Lion Shiki gulped over the wine, and Marco stayed beside him with a sad expression on his face. Ace, Jinbei and others yelled and competed and ate meat. Xia Xing, Aokiji, and Zephyr sat beside Whitebeard and others, drinking wine, eating food, and chatting about some of Marine's past. After all 3 were from Marine, and all Marine Admiral abdicated. With joyful laughter, everyone no longer worried about the threatening pressure on the other side because of the presence of Xia Xing and Whitebeard Golden Lion. The atmosphere here is really good. If there are not so many things, it would be great for everyone to have such a carefree life at sea. Aokiji Kuzan felt the unprecedented atmosphere and couldn't help sighing. Advertisement. 4 emperors, big pirates, and Shichibukai coexist peacefully in one place, laughing and laughing. How unimaginable this kind of scene is. Where there are people, there will be fights. This is normal. In a world where the strong are respected, only absolute power can create such a peaceful scene. Xia Xing smiled indifferently. When she came to this world, she had already understood a lot. Now that so many people can gather here, it is because of her own existence. Zephyr also smiled indifferently, and drank the wine. If it is not for blood feuds and the disappointing practices of the world government, I will continue to be an instructor teacher at Marine. Suddenly, at this moment, Xia Xing smiled faintly and took a sip of wine. Rayleigh, since you are here, come over and have a drink. After taking a sip in 640, Xia Xing still held the bottle in one direction. Zephyr and Aokiji around them both had expressions for a moment, and suddenly did not react to Xia Xing's behavior. Rayleigh, Pluton Rayleigh, Whitebeard Twist Gate, Golden Lion Shiki, Ace, Marco and others, as well as Jinbei, Doflamingo, Hawkeye Mahawk and others were all surprised. At this time, he looked at the dark place indicated by Xia Xing, and an old man in a white shirt came out with slippers in between. Unexpectedly, no one, including Tujit and Shiki, found out, only Xia Xing found out. As expected to be a white lion, I have been so careful and secretive, even avoiding their perception, but you have discovered it. Rayleigh didn't have any weapons on his body, so he walked out with a backpack with a smile on his face. Drink it first. Xia Xing smiled and threw the wine bottle over. Silver. Rayleigh. Everyone saw that while they were puzzled, they were not wary of Rayleigh. After all, as Rayleigh, it is impossible to be a member of the world government. Goo la la la. Long time no see, Rayleigh. Whitebeard twisted gate and watched Rayleigh drank it, and smiled happily. Chapter 107. Breakthrough 3000 attribute points, enable devil fruit ability. Advertisement. You really are not dead, Rayleigh, you are really much older than before. Looking at Rayleigh with white hair, Golden Lion also greeted him with a smile on his face. I actually just took a look at Roger's child, Ace. Rayleigh looked at Ace with a smile at this time. Ace does not look like Roger, but his eyes are still very similar. Come see me. Ace was also taken aback. This Pluton Rayleigh is the deputy captain on the One Piece Roger's ship. He came here just to see me. Before I didn't know that Roger really had blood, and I didn't know the existence of Ace. Roger, I would rather tell Garp than tell me, maybe because I'm afraid I will get angry. But now that I know it, I won't ignore it naturally. Rayleigh explained his intentions, and also wanted to say that he came here to take care of Ace too in this war, but he didn't expect that he hadn't said anything yet. Whitebeard twisted and threw another bottle of wine directly. The old guy is just a lot of nonsense, the White Lion gave you all the wine, drink it quickly, and then finish my bottle. Gu la la la. Why doesn't Whitebeard understand what Rayleigh means, but now is not the time to shiver, this is a party. Rayleigh stunned, then laughed, very happy, took the first bottle of Xia Xing through and drank it, and then took the drink thrown by Whitebeard and drank it. It's been a long time, I haven't had a party in this atmosphere, it seems that after Roger got off the boat, he never had it again. Okay, go on. Golden Lion Shiki directly floated a large barrel of wine over, ha 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 and smiled. Xia Xing also laughed at Mimi, and Ace and others directly started to booze, a lively scene. This Rayleigh is a friend but not an enemy, so I can't let it go. In this way, this party happily went from evening to night, and at dawn, I had already drunk a lot. Advertisement. Xia Xing is also very happy in the atmosphere, until the early morning when the system prompts to sign in again. Just sign in. Xia Xing was too lazy to wait for the personnel to disperse, and gave the sign in instruction directly in his mind. Sign to White Lion Island successfully. Get 100 attribute points. The system prompt sounded. After obtaining the attribute points, Xia Xing smiled secretly in her heart. After the expansion, the island is also defaulted to be a new location in the system. It is no longer 1 point, but 100 points. Obviously, because there are too many big people on this island, the whole island rises with the tide. Upon seeing this, Xia Xing directly added this 100 points to Conqueror's Haki, which is already 2,996 attribute points. Immediately, the system prompt began. Congratulations to host Conqueror's Haki for reaching 3,000 points. Conqueror's Haki has made a qualitative leap, and the system unlocks new abilities. 5 Devil Fruit abilities have been opened, and 1,000 points of attributes have been given away. 5 Devil Fruit abilities. Paramesha, Shock Fruit ability, Logia, Frozen Fruit ability, Paramesha, Hot Fruit ability, Udaman species. Big Buddha form, Udaman species. Immortal Bird form. You can get the fruit by adding attribute points. The ability, the more attribute points, the stronger the ability. Looking at the system prompts, Xia Xing smiled directly. These abilities are dispensable to one's own, although they are some powerful skills. Subsequently, 1 point was added directly to each of the 5 abilities, and all the others were still added to Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki's attribute points easily broke through 4,000 directly, reaching 4,091 points. Xia Xing, who originally thought that it would be done after ordering it as usual, did not expect that the more than 1,000 attribute points would be added too much. Conqueror's Haki grew too fast, and the Haki on his body burst out. Xia Xing also did not control the explosive growth, and the momentum spread directly, dispersing like a storm. As a result of the gaze, there was a faint golden light flickering. The sudden change made everyone shocked. Doflamingo and Jinbei were even knocked to the ground without holding the wine glass in their hands. Marco, Ace and others backed back again and again, with cold sweat on their faces. Whitebeard Twistgate and Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Aokiji, and Zephyr are the closest, and the first to feel the power of Xia Xing unintentionally leaked, and his complexion changed and his heart was even more shocked. Xia Xing is a breakthrough in growth. This momentum is much stronger than all previous shots. It is indescribable to feel such a powerful ultimate. Not only that, but the three of Whitebeard, Marco, and Aokiji Kuzan also perceive a familiar aura from their aura. Advertisement. W. There seems to be a feeling of my own ability in it. The three of them all had doubts in their hearts amidst the pervasive horror aura. This is the ability of Shock Fruit. Whitebeard twisted gate to feel the aura of Xia Xing not far from him, capturing the feeling he had been familiar with for decades. Zephyr nodded solemnly at what Aokiji had said, and even those who had no fruit ability had already felt the familiar fluctuations. Aokiji's level can still barely contend with Xia Xing, and it is also felt. Some of the weaker pirates didn't resist Xia Xing's unintentional aura at this time, and directly shook the ground. The momentum is stronger. Not only that, Aokiji Kuzan even felt the taste of martial Sengoku's big Buddha shape. The White Lion has never practiced before. How can you say that when you become stronger, you become stronger? Marco felt the slightest sensation behind Whitebeard. Even Hawkeye Mahawk couldn't help asking, but it was more like talking to himself. Even you guys can feel it. The White Lion's Conquerors also has the freezing power I am most familiar with. Really familiar. Impossible, White Lion. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Doflamingo even couldn't help but said in horror. After all, I have been getting along for a while, and the gap between before and after is obviously very big. At this time, everyone was complicated by the sudden aura of Xia Xing, and this meeting was finally over. Roar. White Wang's Lion, what is your situation? Can't help resisting the raging momentum in surprise, Zephyr said. Doflamingo, Jinbei, Sand Crocodile, Moria and others stabilized their figures after being knocked down by surprise, and looked at the banquet scene in shock. Chapter 108. Marine Attack, starred live broadcast all over the world. Advertisement. This Conqueror's Haki is more than a star and a half stronger than Roger. If judged according to Conqueror's Haki, Roger is the One Piece, the White Lion is probably the king of the world. Pluton Rayleigh is extremely curious, what kind of strength does this guy Xia Xing have? In this momentum, it was really shocking. In this regard, Xia Xing just laughed, and did not explain much. No way, this may be talent. Xia Xing shrugged and said flatly. Everyone's reactions and words were naturally heard in their ears, but they didn't care much at all. Everyone is a little speechless, and it is indeed due to talent. Sand Crocodile, Doflamingo, Jinbei, Mahawk, Hancock and others all nodded, and they did not have a better explanation to explain the situation of Xia Xing. Golden Lion Shiki grinned even more. In my heart, the stronger the White Lion, the more correct his choice is. This imposing manner is even stronger than 5 elders. Then the closer you are to conquering the world. And Marco, Ace, Beasta and Joes, the captains of the Whitebeard pirates, shocked the company even more. Whitebeard twisted gat even more grunting and laughing. It seems that his choice is not wrong. The stronger the White Lion, the safer the family members on his boat and the people who have been guarding it. The confidence and evaluation that Xia Xing unintentionally revealed this time left in everyone's hearts and unconsciously felt that his choice was correct. In this way, with the end of the banquet on White Lion Island, the days returned to a kind of calm, just like the calm before the storm, and the whole sea was completely calmed down. Quietly, a month passed quickly. The world's discussion of the White Lions League and Xia Xing has not diminished in the slightest. Not only has the enthusiasm not decreased, but it has become more enthusiastic. Advertisement. During the period, there were many pirates who came to take refuge and entered the New World supernova, such as Hawkins, Pony, Kira, etc., and even had a Logia fruit ability, Marsh fruit ability, Caribou, but all of them were turned away by everyone in the White Lion Alliance because of their lack of strength. And the proud supernovas united because of their unhappy emotions and wanted to make a big fuss to attract Xia Xing's attention. But I didn't expect that the captains of the Whitebeard pirates Marco, Ace, Beasta, Joes, and other squad captains came out directly, and immediately stunned in a cold sweat, turning around and driving the pirate ship away. After all, it is the pirate who can be ranked in New World, enough to fight Admiral, and it is also the Whitebeard pirate group. The supernovas who have just entered New World naturally understand that their strength is not enough to compete with these captains. Of course, it is not without exception. Trafalgar Luo has successfully joined the White Lions League. And not through the relationship with Doflamingo, but Luo inquired about Xia Xing's preferences and went back to North Blue to prepare a large number of out-of-print comic books and game consoles. Xia Xing was very surprised when it was sent to Xia Xing, and even praised Luo a lot. In the lobby of Xia Xing's villa, Luo smiled after hearing Xia Xing's approval. Seeing that the incredible Doflamingo is now also under the command of the White Lion, bowing his head to listen to the order, Luo felt very dark and refreshing. This upcoming super battle almost sums up all the strong men on the sea. If you are in the marine lineup, it is difficult to have a chance to kill Doflamingo for revenge. And Doflamingo also has a good chance to shoot him directly, but it's different after joining the White Lions League. Doflamingo can't do it on himself at this time, unless he has the confidence to bear the anger of the White Lion. When you avenge yourself, naturally it doesn't matter if you live or die. Xia Xing looked at the things Luo had sent, and was naturally overjoyed. With a smile, he directly pulled the white bear of the Fur clan on Luo's boat, and Bibo started to play the game. At the beginning, Bibo was still frightened. After all, this is the most powerful man on the sea today. However, when Xia Xing did not show any momentum, it was just a harmless salted fish. Without Admiral level strength, there would be no pressure at all. Coupled with the enthusiasm for the game, Bibo also let go of the trembling heart. Have fun playing. Doflamingo, who came with Luo, was also speechless. The White Lion's temperament was really the same as that of a child. Luo joined the White Lion Master League, and he also investigated the White Lion's personality preferences so clearly. Your purpose, it is rare that you want to plot against me here. Doflamingo naturally knew that Luo wouldn't let him go so easily. Ever since he killed Corazon, Doflamingo knew it. Advertisement. However, Luo just showed a smile and didn't say anything, letting Doflamingo think it. Doflamingo saw Luo look ignorant, with blue veins on his head violent, and finally endured it. Just at this time, suddenly a large group of people rushed over. Zephyr, Jinbei, Hancock, Sand Crocodile, Marco, Ace and others, even Whitebeard Twistgate, Golden Lion Shiki, and Aokiji Kuzan all came. Xia Xing was being abused by Bai Shang Bibo at this time. When so many people came, the handles were thrown away immediately. Emergency, this doesn't count. We will come again later. Ah, what's wrong with you guys, looking like you are going to the grave, what happened? When Xia Xing turned her head, she saw Zephyr, Xingshang, and these former Shichibukai's faces were not good looking, very dignified and ugly. Whitebeard twisted gate and even lifted the naginata in his hand, Kong Yun cut, as if preparing to fight. Your Excellency White Lion, something extraordinary has indeed happened. Marco solemnly opened the TV bug that Xia Xing had put on the table. As soon as the screen appeared, Xia Xing saw a strange man with green hair introducing himself. Hip hop ha ha, hello everyone, I am one of Marine's new third admiral, and outsiders call me Green Bull. On the screen, Lu Niu is a serious self-introduction, but there are also some funny looks. Obviously, Green Bull is also very unaccustomed to facing live broadcast footage. Seeing this picture, Xia Xing also looked back at everyone again. Marine new admiral, Green Bull. Xia Xing only reacted a little at this time. Whitebeard and their faces were not very good looking. It seems that the world government has been holding back for a month, and it is officially about to take action against White Lion Island. Chapter 109. The world is shocked, these are legendary characters. Advertisement. Seeing Xia Xing's eyes, Marco nodded. Your Excellency White Lion, this is a live broadcast by the world government all over the world. They are going to make a move. Xia Xing understood, and then just smiled, adjusted a more comfortable posture and lay down. Sure enough, on the direct broadcast screen. After Green Bull introduced himself seriously, he laughed again. Everyone from all over the world, here is a grand live broadcast that the world government and Marine are preparing to open for everyone. This live broadcast is about the White Lions League, which is booming in the world today. Codenamed White Lion, whose real name is Xia Xing, former Marine Admiral, beat and threatened the nobles of the world at Sabayati Archipelago, 2 celestial dragons, and later for betraying Marine, released impelled down criminals of all levels, and disrupted Marineford's elimination of the Whitebeard pirates. Fighting, and what's more, when I left Marineford, I bluntly said that I would not let any celestial dragons go. Green Bull's tone remained unchanged, but as he spoke, he couldn't help being serious. Although the situation at that time was not fully present at the scene, Kizaru, Sengoku, and Garp Vice Admiral naturally knew that it was not so exaggerated. But all this is the unforgivable accusation that the world government wants to impose on the White Lion. On Xia Xing's side, Aokiji, Zephyr, Doflamingo, Sand Crocodile, Jinbei and others, and even Whitebeard Twistgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Marco and others all stared. The world government is going to condemn the White Lion to death first, put the hat on it, and then give a famous account to the people of the world and the major kingdoms. White Lion Xia Xing is the world's largest criminal. The world government hereby declares that it has assembled the most peak force and will set off on White Lion Island to capture the biggest criminal, Xia Xing. This operation is personally directed by the world government. Marine will also be led by the new Marshal, Marshal Sakazuki, and dispatched by my own 3 Admiral, Green Bull, Kizaru, Fujitora and all the headquarters Vice Admiral, elite Marine fighters. On the screen, the Green Bull is still explaining, but when the screen turns, Sakazuki is already wearing a martial uniform with a solemn face. Behind him is Admiral on the left and right. Kizaru Pelusolino, standing tall, and Fujitora, holding a rod and knife, smiled. There are more than 10 Vice Admiral from Marine. This scene instantly caused an uproar in people all over the world. Marine, it turned out that all was dispatched. The new Marshal's thing turned out to be true, and I thought it was heard from the ears. Advertisement. But that White Lion Xia Xing, after all, is now known as the strongest man, dispatching the Marshal, 3 Admiral, these combat powers are also normal. Now, discussions have started all over the world, but this is also the discussion of ordinary people. Supernovas, as well as the big pirates in the world, or the royal families of the major kingdoms know that this has been calm for a month, and the upcoming war is about to begin. As coming, Golden Lion Shiki grinned even more, a little excited in his heart. The long-awaited super battle is really coming. The rest of the people were even more light-eyed at this time, even Aokiji Kuzan, Marco and others began to be very dignified. Of course, Marine dispatching this lineup to arrest the murderous criminal of White Lion Xia Xing is of course far from ensured. In addition to himself, there are bigger forces on White Lion Island, such as the original Shichibukai. So, in response to the next action, this time the world government also called a new 7 warlords of the sea to participate in this action. After introducing the lineups of martial marine, the screen changed again and came to the other side. On the screen, 6 people are sitting on chairs arranged. In this scene, the eyes of Doflamingo, Crocodile and others on Xia Xing's side shrank, and their faces changed greatly. After hearing this, I really saw this lineup, even Marco, Ace, or the original Shichibukai's faces became heavy. The new Shichibukai, presumably some have not yet been communicated, and many people are still unclear. These strengths at sea have been recognized by the world government. They are Edward Wable. The voice of Green Bull continued to be introduced, and the camera shifted to a person in Wable. It seems that knowing that he appeared on the screen, Wable also smiled harmlessly, but with his own figure and image, the audience can't help but frighten the audience. For Flowers 00, Zephyr showed a deep hatred at this time, and even Aokiji Kuzan, Jinbei and others around him took a surprised look. Fortunately, the screen moves quickly, and the introduction of Green Bull is also very quick. This one is the famous Golden City owner in New World, Disilo. Advertisement. Bao Kun Bear, this one has not changed. After that, the captain of the Blackbeard Pirates, Marshall, Teach. When introducing these two, even the voice of Green Bull was a little hesitant. After all, these two are taboo characters to a certain extent, but the introduction of world government is still a lot short. The crew of One Piece. Douglas. Bullet, known as the heir of the devil. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirate group also showed anger. Many people in all major kingdoms and famous islands remembered these two. Ace gritted his teeth even more, and Marco had no choice but to pat Ace on the shoulder, expressing peace of mind. Such a scene is happening all over the world. 0. The following two are special. They are amnested by Marine and joined Shichibukai's 2 legendary pirates. Bullet. It's him. When he committed crimes at sea, even the Grand Line that stirred up was a mess. This B************* D. Lonely Red. He has disappeared for more than 20 years or 30 years, right? This, but once a monster who competed with the One Piece Roger, Whitebeard, and Golden Lion Shiki alone. When Lu Niu introduced, he also specifically concealed the name of Teach's D. But living in the sea, how can such a character not remember? There was an uproar all over the world immediately. Whitebeard twisted Getter's eyes with killing intent. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Teach has always been a stain on the Whitebeard pirates. Teach, this traitor, if you dare to appear, you will kill it. Someone recognized the Red Earl Letterfield, and even his legend was clear, and the people couldn't help but be astonished. The pirate who stood on the pinnacle of the pirates in the old days. One can compete with the strong on the sea for hegemony, and he is known as the Lonely Red, Letterfield. Chapter 110. A terrifying battle where 5 elders is personally seated. Advertisement. The eyes of everyone on White Lion Island were even more shaking. Letterfield, you finally chose to stand on the side of the world government. Golden Lion Shiki hasn't seen the Red Earl for a long time. Even if I heard it among the population such as Whitebeard, I didn't really believe that the aloof Letterfield would make a move, and his appearance was still so young. Until now, after seeing such a scene on the live broadcast, Golden Lion sighed deeply. The surrounding Jinbei, Sand Crocodile, Doflamingo and others are even more ugly. The new Shichibukai lineup, with Bullet and Ji Yu Gao Zihong, although there is still an empty seat, it is undoubtedly stronger than their original Shichibukai. Marine and these Shichibukai who played in the battle are really incomparable. This is a strong alliance with Shichibukai's 6, 4, 3 inches, but the White Lion Xia Xing and his White Lion alliance are still very powerful. In order to ensure that there is nothing wrong, the world government also invited the pirates of New World to come and help. While the world was shocked by the strength of Marine and Shichibukai, Green Bull did not stop, and introduced the terrifying force assembled by the world government. They are called the 4 Emperors of the Sea, Kaido. Big MOM. As soon as the screen turned, the 2 characters appeared, making the world's jaw drop by surprise. I heard it wrong, didn't I? How is this possible? Is this the first time in history? The 4 Emperors on the sea are the 4 closest to the position of the Pirate King. The world government can actually invite them to come and help out. When can the pirate and marine cooperate like this? That White Lion Xia Xing, how terrifying it is. The lineup of Shichibukai and the 3 Admiral led by Martial Marine are scary enough, and people all over the world did not expect that even the 4 Emperors had joined the action against the White Lion. This is not just unprecedented, the cooperation between Marine and pirates is so simple. Marine's full combat power plus the new Shichibukai, plus 2 4 Emperors pirate groups, this force is enough to destroy any island in the world. There was a lot of discussion, and the unbelievable same happened in the world where you watch the live broadcast today. On the other hand, Xia Xing looked like watching TV, looking at Erlang's legs leisurely, even holding a pineapple pie in her hand. The people behind them looked ugly, so gloomy that they were about to drip ink. Kaido. Advertisement. Whitebeard twisted Gat, Marco, Joes and others gritted their teeth and looked at Kaido with a fierce and somewhat proud look on the screen. Kazuki Oden's revenge has not yet been recovered from Kaido. Teach, Kaido, can't let go of one of them. Even the air was shaking with Twist-Getter's hard hands, and his face was flushed with anger. These two deadly enemies, now knowing that they are here, backed by the world government, they dare to come here. The three of Doflamingo, Jinbei, and Hancock were shocked, and their complexions were even more ugly. Gecko Moria was almost afraid to leave overnight, but the environment he was in now made him afraid to mess around. Hawkeye Mahawk's heart is also ups and downs, and finally, this war is coming. Like Trafalgar, Luo did not expect that the White Lion Alliance would not only face Marine and Shichibukai, but even the four emperors had already participated. Lord White Lion, Moria couldn't help but want to speak at this time. Look on. Xia Xing looked back and waved. This guy is really afraid of death. The picture also returned to Green Bull at this time. He seemed to know that this lineup would make the whole world uproar, and he couldn't help laughing. It wasn't until Sakazuki's coughing sound came from the side that the Green Bull stopped laughing, and continued speaking somewhat sly. This is the unprecedented first cooperation between Marine and the pirates. With such a strong lineup, everyone will definitely be curious about this battle. No, who will lead such a strong lineup? Is it the hero Garp Vice Admiral? Is it the former Marshal Mr. Sengoku, or the Army Commander Kong? Following the words of Green Bull, the picture shifted to Garp, Sengoku, and Kong. Obviously, these three were also involved in this operation. People all over the world are even beginning to sweat on their heads. Advertisement. Has the world government vowed to kill the White Lion Xia Xing and the White Lion Alliance? This lineup, with the appearance of the Garp trio, has completely surpassed the acceptance of the world. Many people who know the forces of the White Lion Alliance have already begun to panic. Sengoku, Kong, Garp, Marine Admiral, New Marshal, Vice Admiral, Shichibukai with Red Earl and Bullet, and even the Four Emperors pirate group among the pirates. With the appearance of 5 elders. Neither, it is not one person who leads us, but 5. The Green Bull's voice was truly solemn at this time. They are the top leader of the world government, the 5 elders at the pinnacle of power. Admiral-level combat power or those above Admiral have reached as many as 10. Even the pirates of New World couldn't help but screamed in shock. The picture also shifted to 5 elders, who was sitting calmly on the sofa. In Xia Xing's villa, in addition to Xia Xing, even Whitebeard Twistgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Zephyr, Aokiji, Mahawk and other powerful people have their eyes and pupils tightened, and their hearts are shaking. And Green Bull smiled at this time, and officially announced the leader of such a lineup to the live broadcast. Is this going to completely crush the White Lion Alliance and demonstrate the majesty of the world government? Yeah, with such a terrifying lineup, even Kong is not qualified to lead the action, and only the 5 elders are qualified to serve the public, right? Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This is incredible. Even people in the major kingdoms did not expect that 5 elders, which is even one level higher than ordinary celestial dragons, would actually participate in person. The king of a big kingdom was also shocked, and said in an extremely solemn tone. It is also their decision to play for live broadcast 0.0. All the people in the world who watched the live broadcast opened their mouths and uttered incredible exclamations after a brief silence. The 5 old men's eyes were all looking at other places at this time, or they were bowing their heads in thought. With so many things happening, even the White Lion Xia Xing ignored the majesty of the world government. Chapter 111. The White Lion's Alliance win rate is 100%. Advertisement. At this time, the camera turned and it was placed on the old man wearing a black suit, white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, a flat hat, and a scar on his left face. One of the 5 elders, the Great Elder. I haven't taken a shot for many years. One of the real powerhouses. The great pirate who was comparable to the 4 emperors at sea decades ago was shot by the Great Elder himself, sinking the entire group of pirates to the bottom of the sea. As Green Bull solemnly introduced 5 elders, the pinnacle of power, to the world, everyone in front of the live broadcast unanimously held their breath. Every great pirate understands that, except for the real One Piece, these 5 are the real overlords of the sea. The Great Elder is the oldest among the 5 elders and the one with the heaviest voice. It turns out that 5 elders is the real powerhouse, and even one person can deal with the Imperial Pirate Group. Everyone on Xia Xing's side is not clear about 5 elders' more records. At this time, they were deeply shocked after hearing about it. The people who watched the live broadcast in the world made even more sighs of surprise. 5 elders has such strength. The world is surprised and at the same time as expected and normal. It is possible that one of the leaders of the world government who can make decisions does not have strong strength. The second elder also took very few shots, but the remnant of Rock's pirate, Silver Axe, who once faced the vicious and evil attack, also directly wiped out the vicious Rock's remnant party with one person. The picture came to the second old man again, with long straight white hair and beard, his eyes cold. Everyone in the world who knew Rock's pirate showed a stunned expression, and their hearts were astonished. The second elders are also strong first-class ones. Which one of Rock's pirates' remaining party is not a powerful presence of the powerful side, such as Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Bigmom, and the disappeared Akoku, including Silver Axe. Even Whitebeard Twisting Gate and Shiki didn't look good at this time. Silver Axe disappeared. It turned out that 5 elders did it. Doflamingo and others were full of cold sweat on their foreheads, and with the introduction of Green Bull, they started to feel a little shocked. The third elder, many years ago, he knocked out a 3 billion big pirate. With his gestures, he overturned the ocean and swallowed all the members of this big pirate. Wearing a dark green suit, bald, with a double-stretched beard, the old man with a Madara birthmark on his forehead is not like the first two, and he slightly clicked his forehead. Advertisement. The world is shocked again. Introducing the record of 5 elders. To the third elder, it seems that they have easily defeated the powerful pirates. How powerful are they? Next are the 4 elders and the 5 elders. Their record has even more shocked us younger generations. 38 years ago, Rock's pirate was destroyed. In addition to Marine's hero, Garp Vice Admiral, the 4 elders and 5 elders were shot. The overlord of the sea, once led Marine's powerless criminals, Rocks is also dead. Under the 5 elders. The last picture introduced is wearing a dark red suit, no tie, blonde hair, golden beard, a scar on his chest and an old man wearing a white robe, bald head, wearing glasses, holding a hand like a first-generation ghost. The old man with a long sword appeared on the screen. After the introduction of 5 elders, the whole world was silent for a long time and burst into flames. Too strong, too exaggerated, is this the real strength of the world government? 5 elders, not only the 5 supreme celestial dragons, but also the powerhouses who have stood at the top of the world. It's crazy. How does the White Lion Alliance stop? This seems to be a unilaterally crushed arrest, not a war. The world was shocked and screamed again and again. When the world government started, it really made people feel desperate. Some people are even wondering what kind of mentality they have seen this live broadcast in the White Lions League. Has they already begun to flee? Even if there are the original Shichibukai, there is the Whitebeard Pirate Group, the Flying Pirate Golden Lion. It seems that it is not enough to see. On a small island in New World, the supernovae gathered here after being denied entry to the White Lion Island. At this time, seeing the live broadcast also felt that the lineup was weak for the world government. We should be thankful that we didn't just enter the White Lions League. On the contrary, we have to thank them. Perhaps, because of this, they rejected us. Hira bit the cigar, sat on the prepared chair, and after a long puff, he sighed deeply. This terrifying lineup is really weak. Maybe it's not that simple. At this time, looking at the tarot card burning in his hand, Hawkins was shocked. Leaning on the reef blankly, looking at the slowly burning destiny card. Shit, Kid, Pani, Arp and others were all attracted to the past. They knew that Hawkins' ability to calculate probability was very heaven-defying. Advertisement. But what is the situation now that even the divination of ability is burned? What did you see, magician? Kid couldn't stand his temper the most, and asked Hawkins with his eyes wide open. It's impossible to divination to a deeper level at all. Maybe my account is wrong. How is this possible? Hawkins has always been a calm character. These 643 moments are all in a mess. Looking at the tarot cards that have become ashes in disbelief, his head seems to explode. What's going on? Pony, Apu and others all surrounded, and the pirates in Joguaway were even more surprised. What exactly did Hawkins occupy? When the burning is almost finished, the card shows that the winning percentage of the White Lions Alliance is 100%. Hawkins' tone was extremely shocked. The surrounding supernovae did stay for a while and all laughed. You must be wrong. The probability of losing is 100%. Everyone laughed at the moment, and said with a sigh of relief. This is simply impossible, without looking at what kind of lineup the world government is. Maybe it is. Kaikens nodded in agreement. Whitebeard Twistgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Zephyr, Pluton Rayleigh all frowned, and the dignified guard against 5 elders in their hearts had reached the extreme. It is these two who have shown that they are truly at the pinnacle of strength, and the first 3 5 elders have exaggerated records, which shows that the strength of 5 elders is actually the same. After so long time has passed, I was able to fight rocks back then, and now it is even harder to imagine how powerful it is. Chapter 112. Isn't it that the number of people on the other side is a bit too large? Calm down. Advertisement. People like Marco, Ace, Doflamingo, and Moria of the original Shichibukai knew in their hearts that the sense of horror could not be concealed. Everyone then began to look solemnly at Xia Xing, who was still holding Erlang's legs. Even Whitebeard and Golden Lion Shiki, who had always been improper, felt extremely serious about this form. The world government has basically taken full action, vowing to subvert the entire White Lion Alliance and not allow it to exist. Moreover, in the live broadcast, it is obvious that they have already broadcast live on the huge warship. The shaking image, I am afraid that it is already heading to the White Lion Island, and it will come soon. Feeling the dignified atmosphere behind him, Xia Xing also sat back and faced everyone. Your Excellency White Lion, Daddy, how about us? Retreat and avoid the edge for the time being. The world government's lineup is to wipe out us in one fell swoop, and we can't just take care of it. This kind of lineup, even if our White Lions League is really strong, but compared with the current world government lineup, it doesn't count at all. The captain of the 11th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Jin Guduo, couldn't help but stand up at this time and spoke out to persuade him. The meaning is also very clear, insisting on fighting, it seems to be killed by a pebble hitting a rock. It's not worth it. Dad, Sir White Lion, you guys, it doesn't matter if we fail, but the people in your hometown and the ordinary people under your banner are all here. Once the war starts, I am afraid that they will not even have the ability to resist the aftermath, and they will be immediately let them go directly. Finished. Marco also stood up with a sad look. Although he didn't want to say such frustrating words now, it was true. The hope of winning is simply invisible, and if a war starts, the first group of people who die may be ordinary people on the island. 5 elders leads the entire marine, the new Shichibukai, Kaido, and Bigmom, the two 4 emperors level pirate groups. How do you see our number and the number of strong people are far from? Although Shichibukai such as Hancock, Sand Crocodile, Jinbei, and Doflamingo do not want to admit it, the actual strength of the world government on the opposite side is too terrifying. Even the strongest of them, the White Lions, may be constrained by 5 elders or even directly defeated. The others will join forces with Garp and Sengoku, as well as Kaido and Bigmom. In any case, this is a battle with no chance of winning. The best option is to retreat while feeling. Advertisement. Gecko Moria couldn't wait to say at this time, the fear on his face was undoubtedly expressed. The old man has never wanted to say that. In this case, after joining the White Lion League, you will no longer have to retreat. Retreat. Where can you retreat? You also know how terrifying the world government lineup is. They publicize the live broadcast, not just to make us run away in panic, want to win without fighting, and show their majesty in the world. Black Arm Zephyr, who was already determined to die, just sneered at this moment, looking at Gecko Moria. These people who were afraid of death said loudly. The world is so vast, we won't have no retreat. The big deal is to continue sailing at sea for a period of time. When the time comes, they will naturally not spend so much energy against us, and will eventually return to the original state. Doflamingo heard Zephyr's words. There is a little truth, but also does not agree with the advocacy of fighting. What's the point of such resistance? It is better to preserve your strength. Once we retreat, we must separate and evacuate. At that time, it will be the best time for Marine to defeat us one by one. Do you think they will be unprepared? Naive. Only uniting here is the best choice. Zephyr snorted and said harshly. Hearing Zephyr's words, some people nodded secretly, such as Jinbei, Hawkeye Mahawk. But Doflamingo, Sand Crocodile, Moria, and most of the people who are worried have clearly expressed their withdrawal. Suddenly, the dispute between the two opinions could not be stopped, and each had its own rhetoric. However, no reunification could be achieved anyway. Whitebeard Twist Gate, Golden Lion Shiki, Aokiji, Pluton Rayleigh did not make any comments, but solemnly looked at Xia Xing, who had already faced the crowd and began to be expressionless. The decision made by this person is the final result. It's just that the number of people is a bit larger, it's not a big deal. Seeing everyone arguing for a long time, Xia Xing finally laughed. Even the Sand Crocodile couldn't help speaking at this time. Advertisement. Whitebeard Twist Gate, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh laughed directly at Xia Xing's nerve-wrenching words. The other people quieted down as soon as they saw a phone bug contacting them. Yes, Lord White Lion, it's not a question of the number of people. They have now assembled almost all the strong men on the sea except us. Master, the situation is critical. It's best to retreat as soon as possible. 5 elders does not intend to let anyone on White Lion Island escape. They are separating and enveloping the entire island. As soon as Doflamingo saw the phone bug ringing, he immediately understood that it was the undercover he had put inside Marine. Guiju and Virgo called and quickly connected. Even if he hadn't opened up new abilities to qualitatively change Conqueror's Haki, he was not afraid. The phone worm in Kabuto was rang from Brubulu. Your Excellency White Lion, this is not as simple as there are too many people a little bit. This is almost 20 top powerhouses, leading countless troops to attack. The Overlord Rocks back then did not resist, and now it is 5 elders who are directly dispatched to lead so many strong men. The White Lion, I am afraid we are too ugly. As soon as it was connected, Virgo's voice came out in an extremely anxious tone, and the solemn color in it made everyone's hearts uncontrollable. Behind Moria, some pirate elites also said helplessly. Whitebeard couldn't help but glanced at Sand Crocodile in surprise. After this guy quit New World, even his courage became smaller. Seeing that Xia Xing is still indifferent, for fear that Xia Xing will not understand, Gecko Moria emphasized again with a trembling tone. At this time, Doflamingo also wanted to persuade him. Xia Xing can obviously feel that Conqueror's Haki, which has grown up by itself, is stronger than Conqueror's in this world. It has not been released with all its strength so far, let alone the surging world government coalition forces now, and it is completely unconcerned. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The people who advocated retreat looked bitter and began to emphasize the power of the world government. Chapter 113. Encircle and annihilate the White Lion. Advertisement. Surrounded. Doflamingo didn't know what to answer, and couldn't help repeating it. Coming up directly is to encircle, and the world government is absolutely prepared to completely wipe them out here. Yes, Master, in the current coalition, Marine Admiral is just the leader of the team. It's horrible, especially 5 elders has absolutely no chance of winning. Tell Lord White Lion to evacuate quickly, otherwise it will be too late. Virgo's words made the atmosphere here more solemn, and as he spoke, Virgo also hung up the phone abruptly. There are too many strong people in the coalition now, it is too dangerous. Can't beat it, Lord White Lion, we. At this moment, a negative atmosphere was spreading in the lobby of the villa, and the majority of people who advocated evacuation are increasingly losing their fighting spirit. With a solemn expression, he reveals worry, fear, and loss of confidence. The cold sweat is constantly emerging. The coalition forces of the world government are approaching, and they have begun to form a siege. You can't hesitate, Lord White Lion. Even in a critical situation, Gecko Moria did not dare to speak loudly, even 643 even pleadingly. He was really scared. He didn't want to fight to death here meaningless while he knew he was going to lose. Even if he surrendered, the world government would not let him go, because as early as the battle at Marineford, the world government wanted to kill him. Just as the atmosphere was getting lower and lower, after Golden Lion Shiki glared at Gecko Moria, he burst into laughter. There's nothing to be afraid of. If that's the case, let's do it. On the Golden Lion, the momentum of the lion swallowing the world was fully revealed at this moment, causing some of the pirates who were still depressed to begin to regain their fighting spirit. You can personally participate in a war of this scale. Even if you die in the war, there is no regret. Black Arm Zephyr looked around and said boldly. Let Aokiji's eyes brighten. This is the cool teacher who has always been in his mind, Zephyr. Advertisement. After everyone changed their minds, many people were also a little excited. Yes, if you can participate in a battle of this scale, even if you die, you will leave your name on the sea, Cha. At this time, we really can't mess up anymore. White Lion, you declare your decision. The world's #1 beauty who has always been sitting on a python, Hancock looked at Xia Xing who had been smiling indifferently at this time, with a different light flashing in his eyes. No matter how powerful and terrifying the world government's lineup is, it was because of this man who joined the White Lion League at the beginning. Ha 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 ha. Come just come. Anyway, I am too lazy to run, or that sentence, it's just a large number of people. I don't take the initiative to cause trouble, but I'm not afraid of trouble. Xia Xing shrugged and said faintly and confidently. The meaning was self-evident. At this time, many people have ignited hope, but they still have concerns. It seems it's too late to run. Suddenly, Pluton Rayleigh looked up and looked outside. Whitebeard Twisted Gat and Golden Lion Shiki, as well as Zephyr, Mahawk all showed warlike smiles. At this time, Buffalo, Doflamingo's subordinate, flew in with Baby 5, looking panic. Master White Lion, Beasts Pirates and the leaders of the BIGMOM pirate group have completely surrounded the White Lion Island. The two of them had already said in horror before they landed. Except for Xia Xing, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Rayleigh, these people have already perceived them. And Doflamingo, Moria, Sand Crocodile and others gawked directly in their hearts. The coalition forces of the world government are so fast. They have already surrounded them first. Then go out and have a look. Xia Xing chuckled slightly, and there was nothing I could do if I didn't want to move. I couldn't just wait for them to come in and destroy the building environment. As a result, in a tense state, a group of people followed Xia Xing, Whitebeard Twistgetter, Golden Lion Shiki and others went out one after another, and directly boarded the highest point of the island next to the villa, looking around the island. Advertisement. Sure enough, all directions are now full of pirate ships. At first glance, the ships of the 3 Plagues, the 4 Stars, and even the pirate ships of other pirates in Shichibukai have all surrounded, strictly. From this view, Gecko Moria, Sand Crocodile, Doflamingo and others all took a breath. Here are only the cadres and pirates on the side of the pirates, and it is visually shocking that is indescribable. At this time, Jack, Jin, Quinn, and the 4 general stars of the BIGMOM pirate group, Kata Curry, Cracker and others, were all staring at the island in front of them. With a disdainful smile, Golden Lion Shiki showed a fierce smile, and he was about to directly use his abilities to make a shot. Today, here, we will also witness this man being completely eradicated by the strongest lineup in the world. And at the heights, White Lion, if they did not quit Marine, it would be their absolute nightmare. What came to mind was the great shadow left by the young White Lion Xia Xing and impelled down at that time. Well, we still need to be prepared. After all, this man will be called the strongest in the world. Although we don't need to face it again, none of the White Lions on the island can run away. Jin also sighed at this moment, and then said a little bit fiercely. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Quinn was also a little excited at this moment, and soon he could witness the demise of Xia Xing with his own eyes. Just these guys dare to come and surround us. Lousy solved them. That's it, it's now called the White Lion Island. 3 Plagues, 4 general stars, a total of 7 people looked at them with indescribable complexities. Now, no matter which 4 emperors it is, it will not be his opponent, and Marine will completely sweep the entire new world because of the appearance of Xia Xing. After looking around, I saw the surrounding ships. The Golden Lion Shiki didn't occupy the ground, floating slightly. Only when Xia Xing completely disappeared, they will truly emerge from the shadow of being suppressed. Kata Curry wiped the trigeminal load in his hand vigorously, his eyes were gloomy, and with the joy of coming, he said complicatedly. The last thing he should do is to betray the world government and give everyone such a good opportunity. Chapter 114. Whitebeard's old injury recurred. Advertisement. Let's not waste energy to deal with these little ones, the real guy we want to deal with has already arrived. Zephyr also spoke directly to Golden Lion Shiki at this time, his eyes still looking at the sea level in the distance. When Shiki heard this, he stopped his figure and turned to look. The others also turned their heads to look at the sea and sky in the distance, where several warships have slowly appeared. Everyone couldn't help but feel stunned at this time, and the coalition forces of the world government appeared. Assemble the personnel and prepare for battle. Golden Lion Shiki then glanced at the surrounding pirate ship and said. At this time, it is not considering who is big and who is small, whether they are qualified to order, etc. Doflamingo and others also acted quickly. And people from all over the world in front of the live broadcast began to raise their hearts, and they were nervous, swallowed. The coalition forces are coming. On the screen, the figure on the White Lion Island can also be vaguely seen, and the several pirate flags flying on the island are also understood by everyone. The original Shichibukai's 5 flags, the Whitebeard Pirates Group, and the Flying Pirates Group, what is the Marine-like flag? The audience can see the forces on the island clearly, and they don't know the flag of Zephyr's new Marine, but with such a huge lineup of the world government, the White Lions Alliance has not escaped. Are they going to resist with a pebble hitting a rock? However, everyone on the island was a little nervous watching Marines' warships getting closer, and the middle one was even more powerful and mighty than ordinary warships. Xia Xing was just lazily letting the frightened by Shang Bibo move a chair and slumped up, watching quietly. As the warships get closer and closer, the body shapes on the ships gradually appear one by one. On the huge warship, Kaido and Bigmom, the most massive in shape, are also on it at this time. They are holding their arms and looking at the White Lion Island with a smile. And the White Lion Xia Xing sitting on the chair. New Shichibukai, Blackbeard teach, Disolo, have no self-conscious violence Kun Shang, self-proclaimed Whitebeard's biological son Whitebeard II, Edward, Wable. There is also Douglas, Bullet, which is famous in the sea, and the lonely Red Redfield sitting on the deck of the warship, looking at the White Lion Island with indifferent eyes. Next to Shichibukai are the new Martial Marine, Akainu Sakazuki, and the 3 Admiral, Kizaru, Fujitora, and Green Bull. Advertisement. The heroes Garp, the Buddha Sengoku, and Kong stood majestically under the mast. The looks of Sengoku and Garp at this time were extremely complicated. If the position allows, they are 10,000 people who are unwilling to take Xia Xing. After all, the guide for Xia Xing to enter Marine is Sengoku. And these are enough to make the eyes of everyone on the island tremble, and their complexions are extremely ugly. In this way, there are at least 9 super strong top powerhouses, and Blackbeard Teach has reached 10 Admiral level or above. Especially the 5 elders who are now in the middle of Marine, who have put on the code of justice, really make everyone feel irresistible. The original Shichibukai on the island, the cadres of the Whitebeard Pirate Group, the pirates, except for the top combat powers such as Xia Xing, can't help but breathe in one room. Neither I heard it nor did it appear on the live broadcast screen that the pressure that I see on the spot is so huge. And just when everyone was shocked, Whitebeard twisted and grunted suddenly, covering his heart with his arm. Father, Marco, Ace and others were shocked immediately. Daddy's old injury and illness have recurred. Marco looked bitter and began to take out the medicine. Whitebeard twisted gate even more speechless, sweating in pain. This scene made Golden Lion Shiki, Zephyr, Pluton Rayleigh and Aokiji all look ugly. Doflamingo and Gecko Moria's pirate regiment officers and other cadres finally mentioned that the fighting spirit disappeared, and they became even more desperate. The rain leak happened to rain in the night. The man who came up with the strongest combat power and still had the power to destroy the world was lost. How can I fight this? Master, let's run. The cadres of Don Quixote couldn't control too much. Diamante, Pika and others all persuaded one after another in a cold sweat. Flowers oh, run. Where else can I go? The world government clearly wants to put us together. Now, it can only accept reality. Advertisement. Doflamingo's head is full of blue veins, gritted his teeth and said. Even if his decision was wrong, now he can only fight it hard. If he really loses, save his life, 5 elders will not necessarily kill himself in the face of his Don Quixote. It's hard to say, they all feel pretty strong. Your Excellency White Lion is sure to win. Mahawk asked directly. At this time, the female warriors of the Amazon Lily, the pirates of the Fishmen Island, and the officials of Gecko Moria all ran through alley. Xia Xing still looks like this big nerve, making everyone speechless. Xia Xing ate the pineapple pie, still holding it in her hand, and answered Mahawk's words casually. My lords, the White Lion Island has been completely sealed off, and even the bottom of the sea has no way to go. Eagle-like eyes can always catch something different. Xia Xing is really calm. The 5 elders that I see now is indeed different from the usual power, and the momentum is very majestic. At this time, Xia Xing, who had been slumped on the chair, also took the pineapple pie sent by Bibo, biting it, and walking over lazily. Sir White Lion, do you really treat yourself as an outsider or do you really do not understand the situation at this time? How can you be so calm and nervous? Everyone's complexion is even more gloomy, but the complete blockade is already expected, and it is nothing. It was Hawkeye. Mahawk looked at the corners of Xia Xing's mouth with a smile, his eyes condensed slightly. This is the difference between the so-called fighting state and Mariajoy's working state. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. As soon as the Sun Pirates of the Fishmen Island came up, they stood beside Jinbei and said to everyone. Don't worry about getting angry, go up and persuade them first. If you can't persuade them, it's not too late. Xia Xing even thought about the changes in the 5 elders of 5 elders at this time. 0. Chapter 115. The big guys spray each other. Advertisement. However, everyone felt cold about Xia Xing's words and sank to the bottom even more. The White Lion Xia Xing is a little bit certain to win, but it seems that no one can say that it is certain in this situation. The coalition of the world government is too horrible and exaggerated. The 3 plagues Jack, Quinn, Jin, and the 4 General Star Katakuri and others were in the shrinking encirclement, and they were completely sealed off. But Kaido and Bigmom on the warship couldn't help being in such a strong lineup. Kaido directly transformed into a dragon in half form, and Bigmom stepped onto the thunderstorm Zeus and flew to the island. Well, White Lion, Twist Gate, you all come out and die. Ha 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 ha. This time, none of you can run away. Kaido and Bigmom are straightforward and exuberant, and they immediately start to play. 6, 4, 7 inches, as if you were dead. Above the high point of the island, Xia Xing looked at Bigmom and Kaido flying in midair with a playful look. How dare you punish them if you fight for a while? Whitebeard Twistgate had just taken the medicine Marco brought, his face improved a little, and he looked up at Kaido's killing intent. Others were even more ugly and gloomy, and they didn't know how to react for a while. However, Golden Lion Shiki flew up with a grinning grin, and faced Kaido and Bigmom face to face. Kaido was shocked when he saw Golden Lion Shiki, who was still awe-inspiring and aggressive. In Rock's Pirate that year, it can be said that he was most afraid of the cruel Golden Lion Shiki. But Charlotte Linlin didn't care much. Mama laughed. Golden Lion, Shiki, it's been a long time. Bigmom was the first to say hello. If it was other times, he would be a little bit jealous, but Shiki didn't feel confident at all at this time, and he was full of confidence. Linlin, Kaido, you guys are more than a little bit stronger than before. The scary grin on Golden Lion Shiki's face has never stopped, instead, it lingers on the two of them. Hey, Golden Lion, in this lineup, you should try to persuade the White Lions to surrender, maybe the ending will not be so tragic. Kaido also reacted and laughed. Advertisement. Today is different, and Golden Lion doesn't need to be so jealous. Kaido, Linlin, and White Lion are stronger than Roger and Rocks. Surrender. It should be you, but ha ha ha. Golden Lion Shiki did not retreat at all. After speaking, Shijong burst into laughter. The enemy is currently, with Shiki's character, how could he lose to Kaido and Bigmom in terms of momentum? Shiki, who killed the Rocks? Everyone was on the same boat at the time, and everyone knew very well. Now, the 5 elders are dispatched at the same time. How do you stop? How do you stop the White Lion? At this time, Bigmom said with a terrifying smile. The tone in it made Golden Lion feel extremely irritable. Fight if you want. Don't talk nonsense. When Golden Lion Shiki changed his mind, some anger surged, and the 2 famous swords of Sakura Ten and Withered Wood on his feet had emission like Haki entangled. Shiki, don't be arrogant. Kaido and Linlin have no meaning. At this time, the voice of Whitebeard Twisting Gat came through, calming the Golden Lion Shiki and stopping the surging Haki. Twist Getter, what do you mean? Kaido and Bigmom were suddenly upset. When we 4 emperors are Xiao Xiaoduo. It doesn't make sense. The 2 are a little angry, and they are about to take the initiative. But very suddenly, a huge vine from the sea quickly spread from the sea to Beishi Island. On the top of the vine, the new Marshal Sakazuki and Fujitora smiled, Green Bull, and Kizaru Pelusilino stood on it. Whitebeard, you don't look at what you look like now, you are about to fall into the soil, are you still uncomfortable to give up? Akainu Sakazuki dismissed Whitebeard, who was still sweating a little at this time. Injury-ridden, old grade, still struggling. The candle-lighting kid, even if he gets into the ground, he will take you away before then. Whitebeard twisted Gato's eyes on Sakazuki even more, and sneered back. Sakazuki looked at Whitebeard on the spreading vines, and just snorted, not talking to Whitebeard, but looked at Aokiji Kuzan next to him, and said. Advertisement. Are you really going to stand in a different position as our enemy? Forget it, I'm afraid it's too late to withdraw now, right? Aokiji Kuzan looked indifferent and answered Sakazuki indifferently. Sakazuki's eyes were a bit complicated, and he looked at Zephyr again, but Kizaru was the first to speak. At this time, Akainu Sakazuki and Kizaru Pelusilino also looked at Xia Xing. In the face of Sakazuki and the 3 Admiral, even if one of them is blind, the other is tumor, and the lower body is composed of vines, everyone does not dare to underestimate them. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Fujitora smiles and is blind, but he can also perceive the shape of Xia Xing, and even more clearly than the Green Bull, he can clearly sense the huge dangerous power in Xia Xing's body, and his face is extremely dignified, and his mouth even gives the highest rating of 0.0. Marine will pay the price. Kizaru sighed deeply. White Lion, we finally met. It seems that the course of history has been changed. Luffy did not appear. Zephyr also went to open Bomb Rock, but it was still blocked by Marine. White Lion, colleague, you and Mr. Zephyr, Kuzan, we never expected such a scene. Ms. Zephyr, the last time Dynamite Rock didn't do enough things, have you gone to the White Lion Xia Xing again? You will suffer. Zephyr sneered. There is nothing to say to these former students at this time. Green Bull finally saw Xia Xing at this time, and he was secretly surprised that White Lion is really young, and he can feel the indescribable and powerful aura in him, but his expression is still grinning. Call. The dragon among the people, is it really the reincarnation of ancient beasts? White Lion. Xia Xing was also a little curious when she heard it. No wonder the 5 elders of 5 elders are all out at the same time. The White Lion Xia Xing is really powerful, even if the contrast between himself and the hidden power seems to be criticized accordingly. Especially the well-informed people like Doflamingo, Sand Crocodile, Jinbei, and Hancock understand even more that even the new Admiral is extremely powerful and extremely cruel. Kizaru Pelusilino sighed softly and greeted Zephyr. Chapter 116. How strong is the White Lion? Advertisement. Surrender. White Lion, surrender can also give you a way of life. With this gap, you can't even see the hope of escape. If you move your hands, the island will soon sink into ashes. Sakazuki looked at Xia Xing and couldn't help but speak again. He is really optimistic about Xia Xing. As long as the White Lion does not die, he will eventually be imprisoned. In this case, he can still persuade Xia Xing to be surrendered, and find opportunities to release him to play for Marine in the future. HMPH, White Lion, you will have today too, surrender. Kaido and Bigmom are even more openly shouting in the sky at this time. The arrogant appearance made Whitebeard twisted his eyes, and the killing intent began to spread. Your armed conquerors is no longer the only stunt at sea. 5 elders will also use it. If you resist stubbornly, you will be suppressed by them. Bigmom has no scruples, bluntly saying that arming conquerors is no longer a powerful technique that Xia Xing can do. They said this, also wanting to see what Xia Xing's face looks like, and how much pleasure it can make them feel. However, Xia Xing bit the pineapple pie and looked at Akainu Sakazuki and others, and directly ignored Kaido and Bigmom who had a big meal. But everyone on the island looked at Kaido and Bigmom, as well as Sakazuki, 3 Admiral and others, and their hearts were violent, and cold sweat broke out on their extremely solemn faces. It can be said that only Xia Xing can rely on the White Lion alliance today, and only if his strength is strong enough to survive this war. After all, Whitebeard has twisted Getter's injury, and there are so many strong opponents, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Aokiji, and Zephyr can't withstand much. But Sakazuki and Admiral, Kaido and Bigmom are not over after they approached the island. The 6 new Shichibukai also appeared one after another and came to the front of Xia Xing and others. Hey, father, are you feeling sick? Thief ha 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 ha, Ace, you have to be optimistic about the old man, he can do it sometimes. Blackbeard Teach also went directly to the White Lion Island along the vines, and greeted Whitebeard or Ace with the smiling faces of hippies, but the ridicule in the tone was extraordinarily rampant. This caused Ace, Marco and others to have angry eyes in their eyes. Even Whitebeard twisted gates at this time, trying to adjust his injuries, and the cold killing intent in his eyes was rising, waiting for his body. The effect of the medicine worked and then killed Kaido and Blackbeard Teach. Advertisement. At this time, the rest of the new Shichibukai also landed. Bullet, the lonely red Letterfield, Disilo, Wable, the violent Coon Bear, the appearance of the 5 physiques, made the people on the island feel heavy pressure. Bullet, haven't seen each other for many years, you seem to be more mature like this. Letterfield, it's even more distant from you, you still look so young. At this time, Pluton Rayleigh also stood up and greeted the old acquaintance. Rayleigh's appearance didn't look like he was on the battlefield about to break out at all, as if he had met 2 old friends on the street. Rayleigh, you better not get involved. A flash of remembrance flashed in Bullet's eyes. Rayleigh, one of the best friends ever. Roger's boat was also the only place where Bullet felt his partner existed, which made him completely unwilling to fight Rayleigh. Old guy, don't participate in this battle. Or, the White Lion Xia Xing raises his hand and surrenders. Lonely Red Letterfield also did not speak ill of Rayleigh, but also spoke out persuasion. The eyes of the 2 of them were jealous, and at the same time they looked at Xia Xing who was lazy and seemed to be watching a play. You have no chance of winning, White Lion. Bullet let out a grinning smile and said slowly. However, Xia Xing still ignored their so-called persuasion, and completely ignored them while eating pineapple pie. Joker, I can't think that things are really changing. We were suppressed by the White Lion together at the beginning, but now you and I choose different camps, it is really godly. Disilo is different from the past, he is also very arrogant in front of Doflamingo and others, but his tone is mocking. Doflamingo's complexion was even more ugly, staring at Disilo firmly. Advertisement. Are you my father? And Edward Wable next to Disilo looked even more silly, and asked Whitebeard's silly opening. Whitebeard twisted Gate's discomfort now, and his face became even more black when he heard Wable's words. Is such a thing his own son? It is clearly a lie made by Miss Ba Jin, an artificial man made with the blood of Whitebeard twisting the fruits. But Whitebeard twisting Gate did not say this directly. However, these strong men appeared on the island one after another, directly making the Empress Hancock, the Sand Crocodile, Jinbei, Gecko Moria and others worse and worse. These guys gathered one after another like this. If you fight later, let alone win, I am afraid that survival will be a problem with this gap. Jinbei looked very clearly, and the Empress Hancock, Sand Crocodile and others looked directly at Xia Xing. At this time, 647 Xia Xing was finished eating pineapple pie, holding a cloth and wiping her fingers, her face was plain. The new Marine Marshal Sakazuki, San Admiral, Kizaru, Fujitora, Green Bull and new Shichibukai also greeted at this time, persuaded, they all focused on Xia Xing. On the warship, a group of Vice Admiral also looked at their once superior Admiral White Lion. Especially Momosuke Gion, there is a deep complex color in her eyes, even if the righteous position is not in her heart, she will stand beside Xia Xing without hesitation. Under such circumstances, I am even more worried, and I hope that Xia Xing will surrender directly with interest. You know this time, the main target of the World Government Coalition forces is also the White Lion. All the worries and the purpose are to check and balance Xia Xing. 5 elders have repeatedly emphasized that they will win Xia Xing. People such as Whitebeard Twist Gate, Pluton Rayleigh, Golden Lion Shiki, Zephyr, Aokiji, and the original Shichibukai are all just a little resistance. Under the World Coalition forces, they will all appear vulnerable. Even in front of the live broadcast, such a terrifying power is enough to dominate the entire world. Xia Xing, the White Lion, has so much worry and fear in five elders that he will not hesitate to gather such a powerful force to deal with him. Chapter 117. The most terrifying war is about to start. Advertisement. The sea breeze is blowing gently, and the waves on the sea are also rippling. Everyone on White Lion Island felt the heavy pressure all over their bodies at this time. With the arrival of Sakazuki, the new three Admiral, Bullet, Red Earl Letterfield, the new Shichibukai, the whole island began to be filled with tension. Hey, can you go back by yourself? My small island can't hold you so many people. And I'm staying here quietly, without going out to harm people. It's not appropriate for you to surround my island with such a big fanfare. At this time, Xia Xing leaned back lazily and spoke lightly. Everyone on the island was stunned when they heard it, and their hearts moved. White Lion Xia Xing finally stood up and spoke. Both Marine and Shin Shichibukai were taken aback, and Sakazuki wanted to retort the persuasion once more. Before the words were spoken, Kong's voice suddenly came in righteously. Are you not guilty? White Lion, sheltering so many big pirates in the world on this island is a felony in itself. If you are willing to go back to naval headquarters with us to accept the disposal, we can withdraw our troops. You can think about it. Following Kong's words, everyone looked in the direction of the sound. I saw Garp Vice Admiral, Sengoku, and Kong forming a majestic triangle. Step by step on the huge vines, they came over with imposing momentum. This scene directly caused Doflamingo, Gecko Moria and many other pirates on the island to take a breath. Marine's strongest trio lineup is here. Zephyr, you are an old man, do you want to toss like this? Come back from surrender, Marine still has a place for you. So are you, Aokiji, as Marine Admiral, did not report to leave without permission and join the enemy camp. It's time. Kong then looked at Zephyr and Kuzan and persuaded them. As the commander-in-chief of the entire army, he naturally has the qualifications to say the words to release the two. Oh, Zephyr, Kuzan, you two bastards. Are you going to confront the old man with swords? Garp wiped his fists, and couldn't help but curse at this moment. No matter what the White Lion Xia Xing, this kid is strong enough to provoke five elders such as Target, but Zephyr and Aokiji, a colleague who fought side by side, a Kuzan who followed him like a disciple, participated in this way. What is this? Looking for death. Advertisement. Zephyr and Kuzan both had their pupils trembling at this time, and in the end they stood still, unmoved. Mr. Garp, Marshal Sora, it doesn't make much sense to look back. Kuzan shook his head and sighed. Sora, Garp, have you forgotten my oath? You will definitely pay for it. Zephyr responded coldly. At this moment, even if he wanted to do something with Sora, Garp, Sengoku, he wouldn't hesitate to do it. You white lions, what is the difference between us and cannibalism when we start? Moreover, under this kind of formation, you have no chance of winning. Sengoku gritted his teeth, a little angry, Zephyr and Kuzan's unmoved attitude, and finally looked directly at Xia Xing. I am the guide of Xia Xing, and I can't bear Xia Xing even more in my heart. The people on the island are even more desperate in the hearts of many pirates, and some hope that Xia Xing can agree to it. Mr. Sengoku, you guys, even if you know naval headquarters, it's too much trouble, I don't want to move. Xia Xing shook her head and said indifferently. If you want to go to naval headquarters yourself and be punished, you don't have to think about it. Regardless of whether it is troublesome or not, you have to move a bit today. Come with us, lest people here be overwhelmed. It's not a good thing to be afraid of trouble at a young age. It would be a good choice if you are willing to come back and plead guilty. White Lion, you must be able to see this gap, stubborn resistance is not good for all of you. Pleasing guilt and being punished can exempt everyone from the death penalty. However, at this time, the voice of five elders also came. The voices of the five elders seemed very indifferent and flat. At the same time as the words were spoken, Green Bull controlled the huge vines to spread from the warship. Five elders were on it, and as the spread eventually stopped midair in front of the island. More small vine branches are extended from the thick vines, forming 5 thrones. 5 elders sat on it, either sitting upright, or sitting on it with different armrests. Looking at Xia Xing indifferently, the aura on each of the 5 old men rose fiercely, exuding a chilling power. Advertisement. In front of the screen of the World Live broadcast, all the audience were shocked watching Marine and others appear one by one, until the 5 elders looked down on Xia Xing and others on the throne, they were even more shocked. The people of the Alliance countries worshipped 5 elders, who appeared in such a strong posture. This is the true descendant of God. This sound was heard everywhere. The power of 5 elders at this time is really terrifying. The world government coalition forces have shown an absolute crushing trend. Sure enough, 5 elders has grown stronger in these decades. Among the two sides of the confrontation, Xia Xing was completely confused. In the world government lineup, everyone seems to be waiting for the White Lion Xia Xing to consider. Some cadres, including Doflamingo and Gecko Moria, looked back at Xia Xing, who still had the same expression. Master White Lion, Whitebeard Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Zephyr, Aokiji Kuzan, these people all looked solemn to ultimate, and their eyes trembled. But at this time, Bullet couldn't help it. Everyone's breath far exceeded everyone's estimates. Xia Xing looked at the 5 elders, and finally yawned lazily. The captains of the Whitebeard pirate group such as Marco, Ace, and Beasta, and Doflamingo, Hancock, Gecko Moria, and others were even more nervous, and their eyes throbbed. Lord White Lion, Moria was already in a cold sweat, Wang Ma Jiao, and was running back in fear. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The other cadres were even scared back a few steps by the majesty of 5 elders. They made some desperate sounds, but when they saw Xia Xing's calm eyes, they knew that it was impossible to surrender. Aren't we here to fight together? If you don't do it, I will do it first. Under the power of the 5 elders, how could a character like Xia Xing be able to do it? Bullet was struggling to heal a little, and let out a loud roar, and blue and purple light appeared all over his body. Chapter 118. A confrontation of legendary characters. Advertisement. Finally, this battle began to erupt with a roar from Bullet. The Bullet, activated by the ability of the combined fruit, has no reservations, and directly absorbs the entire island. Even the numerous warships and pirate ships around were absorbed inorganic matter by Bullet's awakened fruit ability. The body has already begun to form a body armor, and it is constantly becoming huge and towering. What is this? The former Shichibukai's Doflamingo and Jinbei, as well as other pirates, were all taken aback. Bullet's combined fruit ability was fully activated to build into a giant armor. It was the first time they saw it, their eyes trembled, and their complexions changed greatly. This form has only been seen by Xia Xing, Sand Crocodile, Whitebeard Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Marco. Standing on the shore of High School, Bullet laughed madly. I will start this war with my own hands. Even the masters of the new era in the World Government Alliance have not seen it before. I don't know how powerful Bullet can be, and they look solemnly at it. At this time, the pale blue and purple horrible fit figure has been raised to more than 20 meters, and 1 foot is enough to cover everyone. The entire island is overlooked by Bullet 647. White Lion, the last thing you shouldn't do is to watch me release my true power like this. The sound of Bullet blew like a thunder. And below, Xia Xing just looked at the huge figure curiously, and there was nothing strange in her eyes. Pluton Rayleigh sighed, already wondering when he took the long sword that accompanied him in his hand. Bullet is like this, it's no good if you don't make a move. Instead of letting others fight with him, it is better to go up and do something with this former partner. The sigh hadn't completely fallen down yet, Rayleigh was already carrying the long sword straight up like the wind. BWGB. The powerful Haki was wrapped around the sword, and the sword was swung. A powerful sword aura directly swept across the huge arm formed by Bullet, and instantly cut it down, whistling about to fall to the surface of the sea. Rayleigh. Bullet's voice became low at this moment. Advertisement. Only one arm is missing. With a bang, the inorganic matter composed of the whole body gushes out frantically. Haki covered it and turned black. A huge fist directed at Rayleigh in midair, swirling a powerful air current, and blasting over. Naturally, Rayleigh didn't admit it. Conqueror's Haki revealed in his eyes, the sword was covered in red and black, and he slashed directly. The powerful energy ripples then spread out, shaking the entire surrounding sea. That's right, Kaido yelled in excitement as he watched Rayleigh and Bullet fight in the sky. This is the war one want. As soon as the half-dragon figure moved, Kaido directly transformed into a huge blue dragon form. The dragon's mouth was a hot breath condensing, and then the huge pillar of fire directly erupted against the people on the island. Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. When everyone's eyes trembled as Kaido attacked, Golden Lion Shiki smiled and shook his hand directly. The land by the sea was still wet, and a huge pit was pulled out, and the land inside turned into a lion to block the heat of Kaido's eruption. Kaido, don't get too smug. The Golden Lion Shiki floated directly in the sky, holding the lion in his hands firmly against the heat. Well, don't forget me. Big Mom directly thundercloud with his left hand, and Flame with his right hand jumped onto Kaido's dragon head, laughing. The movement of his hand kept on, and the thunder fire in his hand burst out instantly, and it was blessed above the heat of Kaido. This scene directly made Golden Lion Shiki's eyes condensed, and the other hand did not stop, and it was the ability of Lion Fruit to activate. A larger reef flew up, and a lion's head formed by a large amount of seawater and mud was blocking it in front. With a bang, the two cancelled each other out. The Golden Lion Shiki rushed in furiously, and the famous sword flying on both feet fought with Kaido and Big Mom. But Golden Lion Shiki is not Xia Xing, nor rocks after all. Facing Kaido and Big Mom that have grown up, they quickly fell into a passive state. Almost instantly, a battle broke out in the two places, and the audience in front of the live broadcast was trembling. Is this the battle between the legendary pirate and the 4 emperors? This is too scary, Kaido is still a huge dragon. Oh my god, don't destroy the world. Advertisement. This scene could not help but worry ordinary people all over the world. Everyone on White Lion Island looked even more dull and swallowed their throats. On this kind of battlefield, talents such as Diamante, Pika and the others found that they were not useful at all. This kind of terrifying battle, the aftermath of the battle that they feel now is enough to scare them. The same applies to the surrounding beasts pirates, the pirates of the Big Mom pirate group, and various marines. A look of horror on his face. The sudden outbreak of fighting destroyed the world. On the vines on the beach, Fujitora felt the wind and aftermath from the pavement, and the knife in his hand was slowly pulled out at this time. It seems that the war is inevitable. If so, then we can only end the battle quickly and save the world from suffering. With that, Fujitora's rod and knife waved, and the purple halo of 6 paths went straight above the clouds. Then, amidst the rumbling noise, a huge meteorite fell directly towards the Golden Lion Shiki and Kaido, where the Big Mom was. Gosh. The pirates who have not seen Fujitora's ability, including Doflamingo, Gecko Moria and others, all looked at them with trembling eyes, surprised with the terrifying ability of this new Admiral Fujitora. Xia Xing watched with great interest. This is the first time I saw this kind of meteorite falling from the sky. Golden Lion Shiki and Kaido immediately changed their expressions and avoided. Fujitora. Golden Lion Shiki is nothing, but Kaido and Big Mom squinted at Fujitora. This attack also enveloped them just now. If this falls, half of the island is gone. On the island, Aokiji Kuzan stood up solemnly. Ultimate chill is coming out all over my body. Ice Age icicles. As Aokiji's abilities exploded, the water vapor on the sea seemed to swirl and gather upwards. Then in front of Aokiji's body, the surrounding ground was directly frozen into blocks, and a shocking huge icicle rose directly from the ground, and pushed towards the falling meteorite. Puff. The ice scum kept falling, and the white water vapor spread. Chapter 119. Blackbeard with double fruit ability. Advertisement. The huge icicle braved the cold, and finally blocked the huge meteorite that Fujitora summoned. This made everyone on the island breathe a sigh of relief. Even if he knew that his side could not let this kind of natural disaster-like attack fall, he would inevitably produce huge pressure visually. However, Marine's offensive is that the silk hasn't stopped. Green Bull chuckled lightly, and waves of power appeared on his body. Not far from the icicles, two huge vines broke out of the soil, smashing the icicles directly from below, and stretching all the way to the tomb, grabbing the meteorite summoned by Fujitora's stone. This is Admiral Green Bull's ability, what is he going to do? Someone among the crowd of pirates called out in horror. A bad premonition emerged from the bottom of my heart. Sure enough, Lu Niu showed a playful smile. Then the vine picked up the extremely heavy meteorite, and slammed it again at the people on the island. I really want to sink us directly. The huge pulverizer arm in Zephyr's hand waved, and his stature jumped up to block it. When the person was still in the air, a yellow light flashed, and Kizaru Pelusalino, holding a long sword full of light condensed in his hand, appeared instantly. Ms. Zephyr, don't toss you all the time. Poor Salino's tone at this time also no longer meant to be ridiculous, and the long sword directly hit Zephyr's crusher arm. It's you again, Pelusalino. Zephyr's brows tightened, knowing that he could no longer launch a crushing attack to block the falling meteorite. However, at this moment of tension, the air behind Zephyr was torn apart. A vibrating force was transmitted in the air, instantly covering the meteorites and vines in front. Bang! The meteorite that was smashed was directly torn apart, and the vines were also directly exploded. Zephyr looked back and saw that it was Whitebeard Newgate who was suffering from the attack and gritted his teeth while weak and used Shock Fruit's ability. But the meteorite that was attacked was not crushed, and it still fell in large pieces. Whitebeard Newgate, who is weak, can no longer perform such a powerful attack. The situation is in crisis again, and everyone just lifted it up again. Advertisement. At this time, suddenly, a large piece of white thread came up directly, and the thread covering Haki formed sharp thorns, which changed to black. This is Doflamingo's awakening string fruit ability. The meteorite that was already in fragments was naturally shot down and crushed by Doflamingo's fierce bombs. The Cadres breathed a sigh of relief, and Mahawk also retracted his hands that were leaning toward his back. Doflamingo stood on a white line, his eyes also solemn. I wanted to use Birdcage at the beginning, but now there are too many strong people on the island. If it is broken, I am afraid I will be hit hard. However, Fujitora, Green Bull and others have not changed, and these offensives are nothing more than temptations. But seeing Whitebeard Newgate's appearance that he couldn't even crush the meteorite completely, I was overjoyed. Among these people, apart from Xia Xing, this Whitebeard Newgate is the most terrifying. Who knows if he will completely explode the power of shaking at the last moment, thereby destroying this piece. Thief ha ha ha, the dignified heavenly Yakshajoker, is now also reduced to a miscellaneous soldier cleaning up the aftermath. Blackbeard Teach watched Doflamingo take action to dissolve the meteorite, and laughed and mocked. The words made Doflamingo and Don Heed's cadres couldn't help being furious. Blackbeard Teach, what do you mean by that? Pika was the first to not hold back, and made a sharp sound that was completely contrary to his own image. Diamante and others glared at the guy who insulted the young master. Ola, Senor and others are going to directly work on Blackbeard Teach. The trash men of Zabbing dare to attack me. Blackbeard Teach is extremely jong, and when he sees Ming's subordinates angry, he will do it. There is a black mist on the hand. 100 times. Dark water. At this time, Blackbeard Teach, who had activated its dual abilities, slapped Ming's subordinates at will. Senor was directly caught in the air, and with no resistance in his eyes, he was directly attracted by Blackbeard Teach. 100 times fist. Seeing Chironi who was sucking in at a high speed, Blackbeard Teach punched again. In an instant, the huge force after the blessing of Momo Fruit directly spit out Ceroni to donate blood, and the whole person was knocked out like a broken kite. Advertisement. For flowers 00. Celoni. Seeing this scene, Doflamingo quickly grabbed the seriously injured Ceroni with lines, and the veins on his forehead burst out, gnashing his teeth and a pair of sunglasses flashed with cold light. Isoloni's strength shouldn't be directly injured like this. The strength shown by Blackbeard Teach is even stronger than before. Hancock, Sand Crocodile, etc. No matter the former Shichibukai or the hostile new Shichibukai, people on both sides looked at Blackbeard Teach in amazement. Only Xia Xing and Sengoku were recognized. There is nothing strange about Xia Xing, Blackbeard has known her special body a long time ago. But the three of Sengoku, Garp and Kong looked at Teach suspiciously. This is the ability of Momo Fruit. It looks like it was discovered. The thief ha 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 ha. Dual Fruit ability. This is simply unheard of. My goal is not Momo Fruit, Daddy, having the Shock Fruit ability to destroy the world is what I want most. Father, have you seen it? This is the powerful power that the strongest fruit darkness brings to me. Double Fruit ability. Everyone, except Xia Xing is still plain, even 5 elders on the vine throne looked at Blackbeard Teach unexpectedly. The new Marshal Sakazuki's eyes were also a little shaken in his heart. Others are even more incredible. Now like a tiger with a tooth extracted, Whitebeard Newgate is so old and sick that he can't fight. 0. As we all know, there have always been desperate attempts. Humans cannot bear the second fruit ability, otherwise they will explode and die. At this moment, Blackbeard Teach spoke out his ambitions without hesitation. The other Shichibukai were shocked by surprise. Blackbeard Teach, isn't it a dark fruit capable person? Lonely Red Leadfield couldn't help but said in surprise. There are still such things. Blackbeard Teach, it's really hidden. It turned out that Berndi Waldo disappeared because of him. Blackbeard Teach no longer hides it at this time, but speaks it out. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Sengoku couldn't help but shouted out the doubts in his heart. Chapter 120. Does even Hawkeye choose to stand on his side? Advertisement. In the face of Blackbeard Teach's words, the whole world watching the live broadcast caused an uproar. Unexpectedly, someone can obtain the ability to double fruits. And there will be no side effects. Ambitious people. Blackbeard Teach, the double fruit ability still wants to seize the ability of Whitebeard. There was a lot of discussion, and sure enough, anything could happen on this battlefield. Isn't it thinking of 3 abilities? Xia Xing is also a little curious. According to the original plot, Teach should have dual abilities. Isn't it more suitable for Momo Fruit to enhance darkness? It is worth pondering even thinking about Shock Fruit. And Whitebeard Newgate's face was completely gloomy, staring at Blackbeard Teach. I want to make a move but I am powerless. Marco knew in his heart that Teach's body structure, 6, 4, 7 inches itself is different from ordinary people. And just after Blackbeard uttered that he wanted to seize Whitebeard's abilities, the members of the Whitebeard Pirates were all angry. Ace directly burst into flames all over his body, and his whole figure attacked towards Blackbeard Teach. Fire punch. The unbearable Ace directly greeted him with a handy gesture. The flame fist dragged the pillar of fire and swept all the way to Teach. But this kind of ability attack was destined to be ineffective against Blackbeard Teach, and it easily absorbed Ace's fire fist. It seems you haven't learned enough, Captain Ace, Dark Water. Blackbeard directly rotated the black mist to neutralize Ace's attack absorption. Then it was launched directly by 100 times the dark water, and the huge suction force was acting on Ace's body. Ace's eyes shook, and he realized that he couldn't compete with Blackbeard Teach's 100 times dark water, and even his Logia ability was affected. At this moment of crisis, the blue light around Blackbeard Teach appeared, and one foot directly kicked Teach out. It's the Phoenix Marco who made the shot. He kicked the Teach in time. But Teach only flew more than 10 meters, smashed a big rock and stood up again. With Momo Fruit, it strengthened its hockey defense and reduced Teach's own pain and side effects a lot. It was at this time that Wabel, who called himself Whitebeard too, fought and saw that Whitebeard was so much like him, with a white beard. Advertisement. Carrying a naginata, he killed Whitebeard Newgate. Father. Wabel yelled at Daddy, while slashing directly at Whitebeard who was in the air. This scene surprised everyone else. Wabel, is this guy always so reckless? He went directly to Whitebeard Newgate. Newgate is also a black line on his face. Although he is unwell, he still endures the pain while watching Wabel, holding Kong Yunchi and slashing over. Ding. The two naginata covering Haki made a sound of gold and iron when they collided. What surprised everyone was that Wabel was not slashed by Whitebeard Newgate. But it stood up to the same level. Looking at the state of Whitebeard Newgate at this time, although it is not as strong as before, it does not have the ability to use Conquerors. But only the blade covering armament Haki is not easy to take. Kazaru Pelusolino even laughed at this moment. Although Wabel looks demented, it is powerful enough to compare with Whitebeard in his youth. That's it, Wabel even confronted Whitebeard Newgate at this time. On the other side of the battlefield, gold turned into a fluid and surging, and Dezullo also directly transformed into a golden giant at this time. There are still purple lines shining through the golden body. Since everyone is so interested in choosing opponents, Joker. Let's have a showdown. Dezullo yelled and attacked Doflamingo with a punch. Dezullo knew that now is the best time to defeat Brother Ming and take over as the king of the underground world. You are very good, Doflamingo said very well, the blue veins on his head violently, he directly activated his ability in his hand. With 16 sacred fierce bullets, the sacred killing hit the golden giant. This guy even wanted to take advantage of the fire. Dezullo was controlled inside the golden giant, but facing Doflamingo's attack, he was beaten back and forth. Advertisement. Bear's impact. At this time, the violent coon bear also has a dull look, and he puts away the book in his hand. It is directly a powerful move of compressed air. This kind of horror burst, compressed to ultimate, is like a small bear's paw print, flying towards other people on the island. Jinbei and Hancock both felt extremely tricky. In front of this trick of the Storm Coon Bear, he found that he didn't know how to block and take care of the people around him. Hawkeye Mahawk narrowed his eyes and pulled out Black Knife Knight from behind. Aiming at the bare paw print that is flying at a slow speed, it is directly slashed. The world's #1 slash cut through the attack of the Storm-kun bear, and also exploded the power of compressed air to guide most of the force on the sea. Although his good friend also directly shot, but the red-haired Shanks did not pay much attention. The white lion Xia Xing is completely a guy with indescribable talent. Redhead Shanks is also famous for using Conqueror's Haki. He did not appear on the battlefield, nor did he join any party and chose to be neutral. The red-haired Shanks's heart trembled, a little thoughtful and terrified. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Shanks sighed. Boom. At this time, the bear's paw prints that cut the two halves of the cold began to explode with a loud noise. Just after seeing Mihawk take action, the red-haired Shanks' eyes under the hat couldn't help but jump. The instant rippling impact made the pirate ships and warships on the sea sway. I didn't think about it, but you finally chose to help one of them at 0.0, Miho. He is like a real ancient white lion. At this time, I also saw the white lion Xia Xing, but after the red-haired Shanks first glanced over, the whole person was not good. More attention is all hung on Xia Xing's body. The sea on both sides was exploded, and even the sea water boiled because of the explosion of super compressed air. My own Conquerors is like a rabbit in front of Xia Xing. It's not comparable. This white lion Xia Xing is so young, how did it do it? Looked helplessly. And on the warship where the five elders stayed, a black cloak covered the whole body of the red-haired Shanks standing, quietly watching the battle that broke out in front of him. Chapter 121. Conquerors comes with shock fruit ability. Advertisement. The redhead Shanks hides himself, just watching from the warship. On the island, with Blackbeard Teach and Whitebeard 2 Wable also started. The battle on the island has started brilliantly. The momentum was turbulent, and the turbulent air flow followed it, causing the weak pirates all around to fall down. The residents on the island have already hid on the other side, feeling the ground shaking and strong winds, as if they had experienced natural disasters. The pirate Empress Hancock, Seaman Jinbei, Gecko Moria, and Sand Crocodile knew that this war was inevitable. Suddenly, a huge lava fist exploded with Logia's natural disaster-like ability. Roaring directly from midair, braving the scorching flames, all the original Shichibukai and pirates on the island were enveloped. It's Akainu, the new Martial Marine's lava fruit ability. The pirates yelled in horror. Hancock, Gecko Moria, and others all had cold sweats on their heads. They didn't have the ability to directly stop this kind of large-scale attack. I want to see, how do you avoid it? 27. Akainu Sakazuki still kept a punch in the air, half of his body was in the state of elemental lava, and the corners of his mouth sneered. Indeed, now everyone on the island can't escape Akainu's attack. Hide first. Xia Jinbei's eyes widened suddenly, and he yelled eagerly at the pirates behind him. They can't stop it at all. And at this moment, the lava fist that made everyone feel unstoppable was stopped by the invisible barrier. The ripples spread, and the lava burst like a gorgeous firework exploded in midair. This Lord White Lion, many pirates, including Jinbei and the pirate lady Henku, reacted. Advertisement. Obviously this invisible defensive power was taken by the White Lion Xia Xing. For a while, everyone, even five elders, narrowed their eyes and looked at Xia Xing, who was sitting lazily on the heights. Akainu Sakazuki's lava attack was easily blocked. Do you really want to protect these pirates? Sakazuki's complexion sank and said to Xia Xing. The white lion that I have always admired has also begun to defend the pirates. No way, the pirates on the island have paid protection fees. This island is still under my protection. I still speak credibility, so I can't just stand by. Xia Xing chuckled lightly and said to Sakazuki. As soon as the voice fell, a black shadow instantly appeared behind Xia Xing. With a black umbrella sword in his hand, the powerful Haki slammed into Xia Xing's back. It's Red Earl Letterfield. After getting the bat fruit, he recovered the mighty power of the peak period, extremely powerful. The black sword chi directly pierced the invisible Haki barrier behind Xia Xing, and ripples splashed, constantly approaching Xia Xing's back. Are you going to succeed? There was a flash of light in Letterfield's eyes, this was his closest success. Even the people around, including Whitebeard Newgate, Akainu and others looked at it with solemn eyes, and it was like this when the others didn't even react at all. However, even if the faster and stronger Letterfield approached Xia Xing by 30 centimeters, it stopped completely and couldn't make any progress. At the same time, a Conqueror's Haki hit directly in front of Earl Red. Accompanied by the sound of glass shattering, Earl Red's eyes throbbed, and his figure was instantly knocked out. It's Whitebeard. At the moment of knocking into the air, such a thought flashed through the heart of Count Hong. It wasn't until the body was hit by the shocking force and Conqueror's Haki that Xia Xing's figure was vaguely seen. The center of the pain was shocked. It turned out to be the White Lion's hand. Puff. In the blink of an eye, Earl Red flew directly upside down like a cannonball, and his body directly hit Bullet, who was about to swing a huge armed fist, and he spit out a big mouth of blood. Advertisement. Immediately with a bang, he directly pierced Bullet's combined fruit armor, and the terrifying impact it carried directly broke Bullet's ability. Bullet's eyes were shocked and watched his abilities disintegrate and fall, and Earl Red had already flown far above the sea while flying upside down. Fortunately, at this time, the Red Earl Letterfield endured the pain of his whole body, turned into a bat and flew up, stabilized his figure, and did not directly fall into the sea. At the time, everyone had witnessed this scene, and their eyes were shocking. Is this the strength of the White Lion Xia Xing? The Red Earl is a legendary character, and he has also obtained a special Eudemon's ability to restore his strength in his youth, and even becomes a lot stronger. The people at Marine are even more aware that this has already been felt at close range during the naval headquarters, but now it is actually killed by the White Lion. Kong's expression was heavy. Earl Red was sent to impel down because of the fight with him. I understand how fierce his strength is. The current Earl Red is even stronger than before. But what kind of scene was that just now? Letterfield was directly hit by the White Lion Xia Xing's haki, not to mention the internal injury. Even the bullet that was hit by 647 was directly destroyed by the ability to hit. And when the huge armor formed by the combined fruit-absorbed inorganic matter collapsed, bullet also fell directly to the ground, with an extremely shocking and unbelievable look. He is stronger, and it's not a little bit powerful. Kaido and Big Mom, who were fighting the Golden Lion Shiki, stopped at this time. The Big Mom and Kaido who were standing on the Kaido dragon's head said with trembling eyes, full of jealousy. Blackbeard Teach was even more horrified, cold sweat broke out. He is most sensitive to the power of devil fruit. Just now, was that the ability of Daddy Whitebeard? Shocked in his heart, Teach couldn't help but screamed out. Impossible, how could the White Lion Xia Xing have the daddy's ability? The double fruit ability is understandable, after all, you can do it yourself, but the same fruit ability is even more incredible than the multi-fruit ability. The five elders glanced at each other, their expressions were solemn, and it was not something that could be ignored easily to fly into the lonely red. This White Lion Xia Xing is even stronger. The Green Bull below, Fujitora, Kizaru Pelusalino were even more shocked. Compared with the coalition forces of the world government, the people on the island are a pleasant surprise. Chapter 122, Altogether. Advertisement. The power of Xia Xing is far beyond everyone's expectations. It doesn't seem to be difficult to survive. The joy of Shichibukai such as Doflamingo, Jinbei, and Gecko Moria can't be restrained at all. Jayahahaha. Don't underestimate our White Lion. Golden Lion Shiki's eyes lit up and he laughed. Even Letterfield was easily knocked out, and looking at Xia Xing calmly, he didn't even have a body shape to move. You can imagine how powerful Xia Xing is. Whitebeard, Newgate and Pluden Rayleigh, Zephyr are equally unexpected. Letterfield, like Roger and Newgate, are the real big pirates on the sea alone. This is definitely a powerful and ruthless person, not to mention a young physical state. In particular, Whitebeard, Newgate and Pluden Rayleigh, who have fought against the Red Earl, are clear in their hearts. If you want to hit the Red Earl so easily, it means that the strength of Xia Xing is enough to suppress the Red Earl and there is no pressure. Although Zephyr has never fought with Letterfield, he also knows that his former boss Kong fought with him for several days and nights, and even fell first. The Red Earl's strength will never be weak. But he was defeated so easily by the White Lion. This was also the first time Zephyr saw the power of Xia Xing, and he was shocked. No wonder that five elders did not hesitate to send out five to deal with him, it turned out to be such an exaggeration. Fujitora, Green Bull, let's shoot together. The new Marshal Sakazuki gritted his teeth, and sure enough, one day he really wants to do something like Xia Xing. However, Xia Xing's strength and defense are very strong, so he immediately ordered Fujitora and Green Bull to join him. When everyone saw that the Marines Marshal and Admiral both shot together, they all looked panicked. And Xia Xing still watched indifferently. As soon as Sakazuki's voice fell, the whole person rushed out of the vine and onto the island. Behind him, Fujitora, the Green Bull, and the two quickly followed. The whole body is elementalized, the abilities are fully utilized, the billowing lava turns into a dog-like shape, and the one facing Xia Xing attacks the past. Dark Hound. Sakazuki's move can be said to be the most powerful single attack. In addition to the scorching flames, it also has the same power as when a volcano erupts. However, it was shot down on Xia Xing's haki defense. Advertisement. As for Fujitora behind him, the Green Bull attacks were also seamlessly connected, and they attacked the barrier one after another. Gravity Knife. Tiger. The purple clothes on Fujitora are all automatic without wind, obviously full of abilities, in line with his own haki. Even the space seems to be distorted, the ground stones along the way are all distorted by gravity powder and shattered, but when the purple knife gas smashes on the haki barrier of Xia Xing, everything instantly disappears, and there are waves. No splashes. The Green Bull's attack was even more magnificent. It was directly because of a large swath of vines spreading out on the coast, and its head was even sharper. Under the blessing of armament haki, a dark green color was formed, and the mountains and the sea generally fell directly against Xia Xing's Conqueror's defense. The roar is constant, and the dust is all over the sky. But even though Green Bull had exhausted all his strength, it was still blocked by Xia Xing's barrier. At this time, looking at Akainu and Fujitora indifferently, Xia Xing, who was attacking by the Green Bull, also yawned with a face. The three of Akainu couldn't hold on to their faces at this time, and even Fujitora's face became gloomy. This seems to be too shocking. On the live broadcast, the eyes of viewers from all over the world are falling, and their faces are shocked. Marine Marshal Sakazuki and Fujitora, the two Admiral of the Green Bulls, are still bored under this terrorist attack. The people on both sides had a cold sweat, which was incredible. Red Earl, Akainu Sakazuki, and Admiral, who are as powerful as two monsters, didn't even shake Xia Xing. No wonder, in the face of such a terrifying lineup of the World Government Coalition forces, Xia Xing has always remained the same. Don't flinch. Have you seen it? I have said that this kid Xia Xing is a pervert. I am not exaggerating. Kaido and Big Mom yelled even more, their expressions excited. Sakazuki, are you still confident now? I said that unless we all go together, we won't be able to break Xia Xing's defense at all. His Conqueror's Haki is stronger than all of us combined. Bullet also sneered, and said to the many Marines. Relying on the horror of the lineup, the world government also wants to solve the White Lion Xia Xing at a lower price. How is this possible? Such a horrible Conqueror's Haki does not need to be doubted. Advertisement. Jack, Jin, Quinn, and Katakuri and other 4-star stars are all palpitating and terrified. This Xia Xing really made them feel fear again and again. At this time, Blackbeard Teach looked at the huge invisible but real Haki barrier of Xia Xing in cold sweat. Thinking of it before, it seems that the attack on Xia Xing can still be close to 10 meters or so. How far away it is now, the attack of Marshal and Admiral cannot break through directly 50 meters, and it will not move. Just when everyone was shocked, Sengoku's voice came over. Quote. You all get out of here. As the words fell, Sengoku, who was still on the vine, directly changed his body shape and transformed into a huge golden Buddha form. Lava, vines, and heavy knives were shot again at the same time, and Garp and Sengoku broke out the most powerful offensive. Sengoku also had the same mentality, but 5 elders was still watching behind him and had to go. Garp is standing directly on the shoulders of Sengoku's golden figure. Xia Xing boy, don't blame us, this is all the responsibility. He knows that Xia Xing is powerful, and if he doesn't fully explode his strength, there is no chance at all. Immediately after, Garp Vice Admiral's iron fist wrapped around the two-color Haki, and the power has been urged to ultimate. And taking this opportunity, Sakazuki and Fujitora, the green bull's eyes shined. The shock wave broke out in an instant, directly hitting the Conqueror's Haki cover of Xia Xing. Sengoku's golden palm was pushed back, Wang Li's, and with the powerful two-color Haki blessing, a dazzling golden light appeared in the palm. Abilities are activated one after another. Boom. The huge energy ripples rippled instantly. With all the imposing momentum, Haki urged him to ultimate. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Garp Vice Admiral yelled. In my heart, even though I don't want to deal with my former colleagues, I don't know how to stand. Feel. Xia Xing's defensive cover has a huge ripple shock, and it shrinks during Garp and Sengoku's offensive, pushing forward within a range of 40 meters. The distance was actually beaten back to only 30 meters away from Xia Xing. Chapter 123. 5 Elders Shot. Advertisement. The huge aftermath of the attack was completely dispersed at this time, and the energy fluctuations shook away. Except for the barrier of Xia Xing Haki, the town behind was not directly affected, and all the impact was returned to the sea. The sea was surging, was set off by huge waves, overturned many ships, and then went in all directions. Garp Vice Admiral, Sengoku, Kong, Sakazuki, Fujitora, Green Bull and others all looked at the 30-meter distance that could no longer be reached, and they bit their teeth. Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki defense is not invincible. As long as the power is strong enough, it can hurt him. Everyone in the coalition army of the world government all brightened their eyes and felt happy. When Kaido saw this, he immediately uttered a dragon chant, and directly transformed into a half-dragon form, holding a huge mace. Now the Golden Lion Shiki has been injured, and now it is controlled by Charlotte Linlin. Kaido directly rushes to the Conqueror's Haki barrier attacked by Sengoku, Garp and others in the strongest form, with a full body of evil spirits. Send to the third world, Yin Naluo. The purple thunder and lightning clattered around Kaido's mace, and as the half-dragonized body flew in the direction of Xia Xing, dark clouds formed in the sky. Bang! During the wave, a huge thunderbolt fell from the dark cloud 650 to the mace, making Kaido's attack on natural disasters generally fall on Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki defense. There is a loud roar. The ground that was already shattered is now even more collapsed. Coupled with the offensive of Garp and others, a counter-shock was formed, and the entire island was in a tremor. And Xia Xing's Haki barrier has shrunk again by 5 meters. Only 25 meters. Really? Even Kong's eyes moved. Seeing Xia Xing sitting slumped in the chair, she became a little excited. The defense of this Conqueror's Haki still has a certain limit, and it is very close. At this time, a group of yellow light shot directly above the barrier. Kazaru Pelusolino hits at the speed of elemental light. Speed is power, plus the laser burst added by sparkling fruit. The dramatic explosion set off a violent wind again. Advertisement. And the barrier of Xia Xing has been shortened to 23 meters again. There was only a hint of inexplicable light in Kazaru Pelusolino's eyes. He didn't try his best, he kept it. At this time, a black shadow appeared like a ghost. Lonely Red Letterfield relieved his injury, flew back again, transformed into a human form, holding an umbrella sword. Conqueror's Haki and Armament Haki broke out to ultimate again. The black sword energy on the umbrella sword surged out, forming a terrifying dash to break through the sky and land on the barrier of Xia Xing. The sound of sizzling sounded again, and lightning overflowed as it collided with Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki barrier. The wave of Conqueror's Haki caused the weak pirates and marine to faint. The barrier of Conqueror's Haki has also been shortened again, only 20 meters left. The 5 elders' eyes condensed, and it was only then that their evaluation of Xia Xing reached a new height. At this point, the strong men of the old era have added the Marshal of Naval Headquarters, the 3 generals, and Garp and others have all shot, still not directly breaking the defense of Xia Xing. It can be seen that the White Lion Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki is strong and Madara is strong. Even the red-haired Shank's eyes are shocked at this time. The White Lion Xia Xing, with Conqueror's Haki condensed defense, has almost blocked the attack of all the strong men of the coalition. It's really horrible and exaggerated to incredible. Even the people from all over the world in front of the live broadcast are even more shocked. This one by one, the momentum of attacking, the power of horror destroys the sky and the earth, making people all over the world feel extremely horrified. Are these people? What a terrifying force, almost all the strong involved in this war. Will the world suffer devastating damage because of this? Ordinary people are more frightened about what will happen to this battle in the end. But the pirates on the famous islands, the royal family of the kingdom, were shocked. White Lion Xia Xing, the strongest man in the world, what kind of monster is it? The world government coalition forces more than a dozen top powerhouses can only attack his defense and shorten it to a distance of 20 meters. This is too exaggerated. However, it was also at this time that Weibo, who had been demented, saw that so many powerful people were attacking Xia Xing's defenses, and turned around and directly abandoned Whitebeard Newgate. He attacked Xia Xing's Haki defense with all his strength and slashed past. Advertisement. Between the enormous power and Haki's entanglement, Xia Xing's defense was once again shortened to 17 meters. Bear's impact. Even if it is a violent that has lost a certain amount of consciousness, Kun Shang is now pressing the ball with his palms on Xia Xing's defense, and even adds Haki. Amid the rumbling noise, a terrifying air current radiates. At this time, even the coast of the island collapsed and shattered. The distance is shortened again. 15 meters. And one after another, under the threat of terror, a group of pirate cadres and Yayi hid behind Xia Xing's defensive area in a panic. Only behind Xia Xing was not affected. The world government coalition forces these guys are getting more and more terrifying. So far, in addition to 5 elders, all the top powerhouses have participated in it. Everyone is watching. Even Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Rayleigh and others looked at the past with solemn expressions. This is going to be shot. Even the battle between Golden Lion Shiki and Big Mom and others stopped. Well, I can't tolerate it anymore. Everyone knows that they are fighting here, and the final victory is in the duel between 5 elders and Xia Xing. Seeing this situation, the old man in the white robe with a knife among 5 elders finally stood up. The old man with the knife in his hand had sharp eyes, stood up and looked at the opposite Xia Xing. And when the 5 elders moved, all the attention of the audience was attracted. Gecko Moria, who had seen Xia Xing withstand so many masters and raised hope, still couldn't help but look horrified at this moment. The breath of Asura Purgatory was lingering all over his body, and the color of black and purple appeared on his body. Even the people in front of the live screen were nervous and sweaty, watching with trembling the old man in white robes standing up. Doflamingo, the Empress Hancock and others all looked very solemn, and they couldn't help but feel worried. On the figure of the white Taoist robe, a terrifying aura burst into the sky in an instant. The waves of the sea became more magnificent and deeper. In the sky, there are dense clouds, lightning and thunder. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. At this moment, the color between heaven and earth suddenly changed. Chapter 124. The White Lion didn't exert all its strength. Advertisement. Is this the strength of 5 elders? Those present who can feel this Asura's aura are all shocked. This is really terrible. Even Whitebeard Newgate and Golden Lion Shiki, Kaido, and Big Mom have a sudden heart. It's just one of 5 elders, the explosive momentum has changed the world, and the terrifying power has approached the overlord rocks of the year. This aura is hard to compare with Roger. Pluton Rayleigh was also shocked. The strength of 5 elders is really unfathomable. This move has far exceeded their expectations, thinking that it has overestimated the strength of the 5 elders, stars. However, at this time, I realized that I still underestimated the strength of the 5 elders. Everyone was in shock, such as Gecko Moria's body could not help but tremble, and the pirates regressed unbearably and limp. At this moment, the long knife in the hands of the white Dao-robed old man who exploded vigorously pulled out. Staring at Xia Xing indifferently, a knife fell. The entire space was instantly flooded with a purgatory atmosphere. Prison slash. The old man in the white robes uttered a soft voice, and a shocking new attack fell directly. Everyone's eyes were shocked while watching. The whole space is really like a prison, and the giant slash that formed while the Asura aura permeated hit Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki defense. The ground under everyone's feet split instantly, and Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki barrier was hit directly by a knife, and finally began to shrink continuously. 15 meters, 10 meters, 8 meters, 5 meters. The sword spirit is constantly approaching Xia Xing. Among them is the lightning overflowing from Conqueror's Haki confrontation. The terrifying pressure even made Pika and Diamante and other Don Quixote cadres unbearable and almost fainted. It can be seen how terrifying the 2 Conqueror's Haki was after it was distributed. But the people on the coalition side of the world government all showed surprise expressions. At the same time, it shocked the strength of 5 elders. The sword still has such terrifying power. The defense that so many top powerhouses couldn't continue to make joint shots was finally shortening. Advertisement. It's near. It's about to reach the limit of Xia Xing's defense. Sakazuki, Fujitora, Green Bull, Red Earl, Bullet, Kaido, Big Mom and others all smiled. You can even imagine the Xia Xing being touched by the unparalleled slash of 5 elders. The people on Xia Xing's side looked terrified. The invincible defensive power is finally about to break. Golden Lion Shiki, Whitebeard Newgate, Pluton Rayleigh and others gritted their teeth, seemingly ready to fight for their lives. Sure enough, relying on this strength to deal with you is still not enough. Watching the slash-push Haki's defenses continuously, Xia Xing suddenly spoke boringly. Everyone was watching Xia Xing, and they couldn't help but feel shocked when they heard such a sudden sentence. A bad premonition rose from the hearts of the 5 elders, and their faces were startled. What does Xia Xing mean? At this time, a more powerful Conqueror's Haki broke out directly from Xia Xing. With a bang, the clouds in the sky were instantly washed away. 5 elders' white robe elders issued a prison-slashing blow, and the Asura aura that filled the empty surrounding space was directly dissipated by the impact. There is no resistance. All the people in front of him were instantly enveloped by this unimaginable Conqueror's Haki. Taste. Accompanied by the sound of glass shattering, the people of the World Government Alliance are directly torn apart. All the people who stepped forward were instantly knocked out. Even the white-robed old man, one of the most powerful 5 elders, couldn't hold it in an instant. The rest are even more unbearable. The entire sea area formed a huge tsunami at this moment and slapped past unknown places. The land in front of the island that was originally collapsed was completely disintegrated. The rest of the place is more like being lifted off a layer of skin. Garp Vice Admiral, Kong, and Sengoku of the Buddha were among the first 3 of them. They were directly injured by Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki. In the air, his face was blue and red. Sakazuki, Fujitora, Green Bull, and Kizaru Admiral vomited blood on the head after being knocked into the air. Advertisement. In the new Shichibukai, Weibo shot straight into the sea. Among the rest of Bullet, Red Earl and others, Disilo, Storm Kun Shang were completely severely injured, vomiting blood and flying upside down. Flowers 00. Even the coalition forces and ships of the world government on the sea have been overturned a lot. The various wrecks on the island and the huge vines left by the Green Bull are directly crushed. Everyone who saw this scene was shocked. Even in front of the live broadcasts from all over the world, all the people were plunged into a complete shock. There are so many strong men, none of them can resist the White Lion Conqueror's Haki. It's not a so-called spike, the White Lion Xia Xing is simply too scary. At this moment, neither the One Piece King Roger nor the Sea Lord Rocks can reach such an exaggeration, right? Royal pirates from all over the world are constantly discussing, shocking. The 4 elders looked at the scene in front of them, and at this time they were completely solemn. But even the old man who had figured out his own breath was instantly suppressed and knocked into the air. Shouldn't it be them who are weak? When the White Lion made a move, everything was reversed. Among the 5 elders, on the wrist of the elder, a small phone worm rang. 0. Seeing the old man in the white robe stabilized his figure in the air, the fear of Xia Xing in the hearts of the 4 had risen to a new height. In the scene, the people on Xia Xing's side were completely dumb. Among the superstars, Kid's eyes are even wider. Even Whitebeard Newgate laughed. The strength of Xia Xing shows that the current situation is completely capable of fighting for his own victory. And it was at such a time when the audience was shocked and shocked. Others, and even Garp was shot out. 5 elders are not surprised. You really have a white lion. Gu la la la. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I can't turn it all at once. It's incredible, the strongest man in the world deserves to be the White Lion Xia Xing. 0. Including a member of 5 elders, this is almost all the masters of New World. Too powerful, White Lion. Golden Lion Shiki Lu showed an unexpected expression, followed by a crazy laugh. And just after Xia Xing launched Conqueror's Haki, the remaining 5 elders also quickly backed away to escape. Chapter 125. Rocks don't even match shoes. Advertisement. On the battlefield, the World Government Coalition was injured by Xia Xing alone. What a terrifying scene. At this time, how could the 5 elders' phone worm ring? And the Grand Elder in 5 elders saw it, and he didn't hesitate to connect. An indistinguishable voice came from a male or female. Interesting. Bring him to see me. There was not even a slight fluctuation of emotion in the voice. Yes, Lord Yim. The 5 elders were all serious leaders, and the phone worm on the other side hung up. Deep in the Pangu city of Mariajoy, a black figure hung up the phone in the spacious room full of flowers, and continued to look at the live broadcast in front of him. Yim has been watching everything on White Lion Island. White Lion Xia Xing, the young guy is so funny. At the same time, the live images were also delivered to all parts of the world. People everywhere saw the true invincibility and strength of the White Lion Xia Xing, and they were stunned, and even some pirates were still shaking their bodies and finally reacted. In the distant sea, a group of people wearing military green cloaks also looked at this scene in shock. They are the most troublesome organization for the world government in the world, the Revolutionary Army. The invincible White Lion in the world, what kind of existence can be used to fight against it? Genin of the General Staff of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo Seng, couldn't help standing up and tremblingly said. It's too strong. The Conqueror's Haki of the White Lion Xia Xing is so strong that it can subvert the entire ocean. The strength of the old man Garp, plus Sengoku, Sora, the new Martial Admiral, Bullet and Red Earl, Kaido couldn't break the defense, and even after the explosion, even one of the 5 elders was knocked out. Monkey D. Dragon, who was in the first seat, condensed his eyes, and then said. The shocking color in my heart can be seen completely. If a guy of this kind of strength participates in the Revolutionary Army, then there is no one else in the whole world to stop. It is a group of supernovae, especially after hearing Kid's speech, everyone was dumbfounded. It's really hard to tell how strong Xia Xing is, but it is obvious that the White Lion Alliance is no longer desperate at this time. Is this still a human? So many powerful men were all knocked into the air by him. And it seems that Conqueror's Haki started it. Po Niu, a big-stomached girl, even began to wonder if his eyes were misreading. Advertisement. This is really incredible. At the scene, Golden Lion Shiki was still laughing, and Whitebeard Newgate's eyes brightened. No one chooses wrong. However, Aokiji, Zephyr and others were completely stunned, with a bewildered expression. I have never seen a fierce one like that. The rocks back then weren't as scary. Aokiji Kuzan reacted with a bewildered look, and said tremblingly. Rocks. I'm afraid it's not worthy to carry shoes for the White Lion Xia Xing, it's not an order of magnitude at all. Zephyr swallowed even more, and excitedly waved the grinder on his right arm. The Battle of Rocks, Zephyr is naturally there, and now it is quite a big gap in comparison. Although the White Elders in one of the 5 Elders were not the 2 shots back then, judging from the power of Gang O's shots, they completely surpassed the 2 5 Elders at the time. But how was that? It wasn't that Xia Xing was obliterated by the earth-shattering knife, and then was thrown away fiercely. The original Shichibukai who were present were all reluctant to force. The Empresses Hancock, Doflamingo, Gecko Moria, Jinbei, Crocodile, who just wanted to go up to help fight. However, what I didn't expect was that Xia Xing could completely handle this situation alone. It should have been known. It should have been known. The excitement on Doflamingo's face was full of excitement. I was right to choose to join Xia Xing, known as the world's strongest white lion. He didn't even move his hands. Kaido, Big Mom, 4 Emperors, Garp, Sengoku, Kong, Sakazuki, San Admiral, etc., and even one of the 5 Elders did not resist. I was hit directly. The White Lion Xia Xing is very strong, so powerful that it is exaggerated. This is everyone after the world government united with the pirates. Even Hexia Jinbei sighed. Hawkeye Mahawk looked at Xia Xing who was sitting leisurely with sharp eyes, and was secretly shocked. Xia Xing was about to shook her head at this time and got up from the chair. Watching everything while eating pineapple pie. I didn't want to waste time by chirping with you today, but you are all unwilling. It seems that if you don't beat you all down today, I'm afraid I won't let it go. After Xia Xing finished speaking, the lazy breath on her body seemed to dim, and then a strong haki emerged from her body. The World Government Coalition forces that had hit the fly also gradually stabilized, their expressions horrified. Advertisement. White Lion Xia Xing, is it going to shoot directly? At this time, even 5 Elders' expression was extremely solemn. The active attack of the White Lion is definitely not weaker than the defense. This has already been demonstrated just now. Afterwards, Xia Xing glanced at the people in front of him. Who will move first? It's such a glance at the eyes, so that people who were swept by Xia Xing couldn't help but frighten. Because the performance of the White Lion Xia Xing is too terrifying, even Bullet has heart palpitations. Blackbeard Teach's eyes grew fierce at this moment. There are so many strong people on my side, and I am already a strong devil fruit, and I don't even have a chance to have a chance. Xia Xing is not truly invincible. The golden light of Conqueror's Haki has completely enveloped Blackbeard's head in an instant. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The attraction of the dark fruit, whether it is capable or not, will have an effect. 100 times the suction power exploded, and it worked towards Xia Xing. And Xia Xing obviously used Daddy Whitebeard's shock fruit ability just now. Xia Xing stared at Teach calmly and said. And Xia Xing originally paid attention to Bullet's straight 0.0, and was attracted by Blackbeard Teach's actions. Then he turned his eyes to Blackbeard Teach, his eyes indifferent. While Xia Xing's eyes swept to Bullet, Blackbeard Teach's black mist rose directly all over his body, and it spun on his hand as it circulated. It's so dead, you have to jump out by yourself. Ability didn't work at all. Blackbeard Teach shot suddenly. How can it be? After Blackbeard Teach used 100 times its power, he was surprised. This time Blackbeard Teach was dumbfounded. Very well, Blackbeard. 100 times, dark water. Then start with you. Chapter 126. Golden Conqueror's Haki. Advertisement. Conqueror's Haki glowing golden just appeared on the top of Blackbeard Teach's head. At this time, everyone around seemed to hear a clicking sound from the fragmentation of the space. Similarly, it is even more so in the eyes of everyone. The dense air cracks spread directly in Conqueror's Haki, and instantly pressed on Blackbeard Teach's body. What is this? Shock fruit. When Marco, Ace and others saw this effect, they throbbed and glanced back at Papa Whitebeard. Newgate is even more familiar with the shock ability, and he can see it at a glance. At this moment, even Whitebeard's mouth is open, unbelievable. However, in everyone's perception, it is not only shock fruit's general ability, but there is even an extremely strong high-temperature outbreak. Following the force of the vibration, the air around Kong was extremely hot, and the line of sight was distorted. A small area where Blackbeard Teach is standing is where the seawater evaporates instantly after it explodes. Then, under everyone's gaze, he pressed directly on Teach's body. Boom. Blackbeard Teach's face was 27, his eyes opened round, and he was directly overwhelmed to the ground before he even made a sound. There was no resistance at all. With a burst of blood, the invincible pressure of Conqueror's Haki, the destruction of the shock ability, and the scorching heat of the heat ability, even Blackbeard Teach has 100 times the blessed Haki defense cannot bear it. He squatted on the ground with a scream of pain and screaming, intense pain and hot pain. The wailing voice was extremely loud. Both the White Lions Alliance and the world government looked surprised at this time. Conqueror's Haki is really mixed with the power of Devil Fruit. Whitebeard Newgate looked dumbfounded, and the minister of the BIGMOM pirate group was also trapped. Why would Xia Xing use their abilities? Others are also completely sure, this is the ability of Shock Fruit and Hot Fruit. Impossible, why does the White Lion's Conqueror's Haki carry the power of Devil Fruit in it? Sakazuki couldn't help feeling shocked and shouted directly. Other people have the same look and question. There will not be the same Devil Fruit ability in the world, not to mention that it is generally a Devil Fruit ability like Blackbeard Teach. Advertisement. It's incredible. At this moment, no one cared about the wailing of Blackbeard Teach falling to the ground, and they were shocked by the strength of Xia Xing. Could it be that the end of Conqueror's Haki is to simulate the same ability as Devil Fruit? Even on the side of Xia Xing, Doflamingo guessed. Only this explanation can tell why Xia Xing will use the existing fruit power. Pluton Rayleigh, Golden Lion Shiki, Whitebeard Newgate, Zephyr and others heard Doflamingo's self-talk at this time, and they were all biased toward this statement in their hearts. Garp, Sengoku, Kong, Akainu, and others know that this is not the time to ponder the strangeness of Xia Xing. They are starting to shoot again. Fujitora, Green Bull, and Garp and Sakazuki also stepped forward at the same time, one by one, knowing that there is no need to test in tactics now. Directly use the big move, and strive to shake the White Lion Xia Xing, in order to make Xia Xing reveal its flaws. Akainu is full of billowing smoke and becomes elemental. Lava flows. Garp's entire body is covered with powerful conquerors and armed colors. The strength of his aura directly caused the surrounding sea to surge and strong winds. Martial Sengoku exudes golden light all over his body, and the two-color Haki use the fruit in the form of a big Buddha to produce a different semi-morphic form. The whole body is entwined with golden light. Kong is even more similar to Garp, and Haki is wrapped in a mixed body covering, corresponding to Garp's breath. Everyone at Marine also rushed towards Xia Xing first. Subsequently, Big Mom and Kaido dare not take the slightest care. Flame Prometheus was taken by BIGMOM in his left hand and Napoleon's sword in his right. Stepping on Zeus's thunderclouds and flying in the air, Haki's ascending BIGM-0M also brought out its strongest fighting state. Kaido is even more like a half-dragon body wrapped in purple lightning, carrying a mace. The two followed behind the Marines, and they rushed over, launching an offensive. Almost instantly, the entire space was filled with powerful auras. The new Shichibukai, Bullet, Red Earl, Disolo and others all have a solemn face, no longer entangled with Whitebeard, Golden Lion and others. One after another followed, surrounded Xia Xing from all directions, launching the strongest offensive. However, Whitebeard Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Mahawk and all other members of the White Lion League did not take action. Advertisement. They faintly began to feel inexplicably that even if they doubled their combat power, they would not be able to break Xia Xing's defense. Xia Xing smiled lightly, and even raised her arms. It doesn't matter how many people go together, it's just the difference between who gets on the ground first. At this time, the 7 Marines such as Garp, Sengoku, Kaido, and Big Mom directly used their big moves one by one. White Lion. Garp's eyes moved with a loud shout, and this sound was even a reminder to Xia Xing. Directly ahead is the offensive of Garp, Sengoku, and Kong's Iron Triangle. Sengoku is directly transformed into a giant Buddha form as he progresses. The 3 men's majestic and majestic fusion are together, and they are even more invincible and extremely powerful. With this kind of offensive of the 3, even the One Piece King Roger had to temporarily avoid the edge, even if it was placed in the 650 battle with the rocks of the year, I am afraid that it will not fall into the wind. Above the sky, there are half-dragon Kaido and Big Mom with thunderclouds hovering. The purple thunder that erupted from the two of them, Haki gradually merged while circling. This is to use the extremely powerful combined attack skills of 2 people, dominate the sea. Xia Xing calmly looked up at Kaido and Big Mom in the sky, letting them brew something. Instead, he looked at the attacking Garp Vice Admiral, Sengoku, Kong. This time, Xia Xing obviously does not intend to give them another chance. As soon as he raised his head, Xia Xing's body was full of dazzling gold. Although it did not turn into a big Buddha by itself, the Conqueror's Haki on his body suddenly appeared in the form of a big Buddha, and the faint gold was plated with a more dazzling and rich gold. Everyone looked up and exclaimed, "Is this a fruit in the form of a big Buddha?" Everyone was stunned and said in a trembling tone. In an instant, the huge Buddha shape looked even bigger than Sengoku, and then the space was even more shattered. Conqueror's Haki formed the form of a big Buddha with the shock fruit ability and directly attacked Garp Vice Admiral and Kong. There was a loud bang, the entire island was shaking, and the waves were quickly receding. Chapter 127. Destroyed, no one can stop. Advertisement. What? For a moment, Garp, Kong, and Sengoku's eyes shook. The attacks of the 3 were completely offset by the golden light that shattered every inch. As soon as Garp's iron fist and Kong touched the golden and somewhat illusory palm of the big Buddha, they immediately felt like cracks in the space, and powerful shock waves and vibrations rushed in. The 3 of them were hit hard and flew down. Garp felt terrible pain in his hands, and Haki collapsed. Kong couldn't bear it instantly and started to crack. After hitting the stomach of the Sengoku Golden Buddha, the 3 of them all spit out a mouthful of blood and flew out into the sea. Boom. The sea seemed to explode, huge waves. At this time, Akainu Sakazuki's offensive also arrived. Sakazuki did not use Meteor Volcano's explosive coverage attack because of his hidden heart. Instead, the Meteor Eruption was used. The hot lava erupted and burst out violently. Xia Xing, who was in the illusory golden Buddha, didn't even watch Akainu's offensive, and Conqueror's Haki radiated over. All the lava that was gushing back instantly, together with Akainu Sakazuki, who had been incarnate in the form of elements, seemed to hit an invisible barrier. All crashed. Akainu Sakazuki was even more shocked and revealed his real body, bleeding from the corners of his mouth and suffering internal injuries. However, everyone's offensive did not stop because of this. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin hovered in the air, and finally used the strongest overlord ever in the brewing process. The mace and Napoleon's broadsword were smashed at the same time, forming an extremely powerful, which was bombarded with the huge energy impact of the purple thunder. If it is bombarded, I am afraid that even the White Lion Island will be wiped out in an instant. It's just that the blow of the terrifying power directly landed on Xia Xing's golden Conqueror's Haki. The illusory form of the Buddha became more solid. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin were shocked. They felt that Tyrant Sea directly attacked the sea stone, and they couldn't penetrate it at all. The energy impact of domination was directly scattered on Conqueror's Haki of Xia Xing. Advertisement. Subsequently, Xia Xing's terrifying Conqueror's Haki directly enveloped every inch of Kaido and Big Mom. The shocking force of Shock Fruit's ability penetrated directly, destroying the bodies of the two from the inside to the outside. Kaido screamed, his body cracked with countless bloodstains, and his expression was extremely painful. Big Mom even burst out dense blood lines, and the whole person was thrown away, and the thunderclouds and flames on his body were all extinguished. As for the three Admiral, Fujitora directly activated its own abilities. The purple halo on his body has been radiating, and the stick and knife are pointed at the sky. In the sound of rumbling, huge meteorites fell directly. This is a group of meteorites. Xia Xing couldn't help looking at the sky interestingly. Above the sky, I don't know how many meteorites crashed down, dragging a long trail, with the aura of ruining the sky. And such a terrifying scene did not end. Next to Fujitora, Green Bull is also a powerful volatility eruption. Around the island, even the bottom of the sea is glowing green. A vine that was bigger than a group of 4 or 5 people grew crazily, and even covered with armed Haki, and directly rushed towards Xia Xing from all directions. However, these offensives are still vulnerable to Xia Xing. Conqueror's Haki directly hit the past. The green bull covering armament Haki's vines were directly crushed by the shock fruit ability, and then turned into ashes under the heat of the hot fruit. Fujitora's meteorite fell with a strong gravitational force, and there was still flames burning in the whistling, and the apocalyptic scene shocked everyone. However, such a terrifying group of meteorites formed a barrier in midair directly at Conqueror's Haki and Xia Xing, and they were all shattered and burst apart. For a time, the sky seemed to bloom one after another with gorgeous fireworks. Fujitora and Green Bull, who had activated their abilities, even had no resistance under Xia Xing Conqueror's Haki. Everyone present was stunned. This powerful offensive after another is like the end of the world, or it is the absolute Haki like Garp or Kong. But all of this was vulnerable in front of Xia Xing, and Conqueror's Haki directly covered it, and all Che's offensive was disintegrated, defeated, and counterattacked back. At this time, the new Shichibukai also gritted their teeth and attacked. Advertisement. Weibo, who called himself Whitebeard too, was the first to rush forward fearlessly. The power of the single deposit and Haki circulated on the Naginata and slashed fiercely. Xia Xing glanced at it faintly, and the powerful Conqueror's Haki rushed past. Weibo's Naginata shattered on the spot in front of the cracking shock force. Then the whole person burst out all kinds of blood lines, and the heavy blow made a big pit on the ground. Xia Xing turned his head to look. Bullet, Red Earl and other Shichibukai all followed closely behind, launching a powerful attack. Earl Red, you really are entangled, and you, Bullet. Xia Xing looked at these two with a single look. Except for Kaido, the two of them always trouble themselves. The Red Earl Letterfield and Bullet looked ugly, and the harsh colors flashed by, they were about to directly launch a powerful attack. Xia Xing didn't give them any more time to prepare. The light golden Conqueror's Haki directly covers the past. Red Earl and Bullet immediately released their own Conqueror's Haki to try to resist. But in front of Conqueror's Haki where Xia Xing broke the world limit, the Conqueror's Haki they released broke directly, Wang Li's. Disilo, Yu Kun Shang, etc. are all being covered. Everyone was shocked, and the pressure of horror came instantly. Even Blackbeard Teach couldn't stand up easily, and was suppressed again. A group of people including the cadres of Blackbeard Teach and the cadres of Disilo and others were all suppressed. During the transmission of the powerful shaking power, all were suppressed on the ground and vomited blood. The ground was instantly devastated and broken. Even Red Earl Redfield and Bullet couldn't resist, and were suppressed by Xia Xing with a more terrifying deterrent. Earl Hong's eyes widened in pain, bloodshot, and looked at Xia Xingli who looked at them indifferently and mercilessly in disbelief. The skin on his body began to crack every inch, and his body was covered with blood. Bullet was even more miserable. The whole person sank into the ground, pressed out a big hole, and the bones were creaking. Chapter 128. 5 Elders All Shot. Advertisement. At this time, Xia Xing did not pay more attention to the suppressed new Shichibukai, but instead looked at the only white-robed old man in 5 elders who was the closest in the middle of 5 elders. The old man in the white robes also changed his expression drastically, his eyes were extremely solemn. The strength of the white lion Xia Xing has completely exceeded their expectations, and they have to be extremely cautious. It was also at this time that the old man in the white robes throbbed in his eyes. He noticed that Xia Xing Conqueror's Haki was rushing towards him. White Lion, don't be too presumptuous, the fifth elder shouted angrily. His own Conqueror's Haki also burst out frantically. The air is like a rainbow. The body was even more in a posture of drawing a knife, and the Shira-like horror breath spread out again, and then also used it to arm Conqueror's Haki, covering the long knife in both hands. With the action of drawing the sword, the giant sword aura instantly smashed out. The fifth elder is going to use the strongest knife, and it is about to crush the armed conquerors of Xia Xing. Everyone was attracted by conquerors, who shot the fifth elder of five elders and Xia Xing at this time, and watched nervously. Puffing, Xia Xing's invisible conqueror's Haki and the 655 elders' long sword touched with the giant sword energy and changed into a faint golden color. The two armed forces, Conqueror's Haki, were colliding violently. The violent Haki lightning and the dazzling white light came out. This is a vision of armed Conqueror's Haki fighting. Everyone swallowed their throats fiercely and watched this scene tremblingly. The confrontation of armed Conqueror's Haki is simply a rare sight in a century. Because this can only be used by Conqueror's Haki above the real top level, and how many such strong people exist throughout history. In the violent confrontation, a violent air current was lifted and surging. Thunder fell on the sky like rain. The real apocalyptic. The White Lion's Conqueror's Haki was finally blocked. The eyes of Bullet, who was injured and in severe pain, shone brightly. Sakazuki, Fujitora, Green Bull and others are like this. Almost everyone thinks that Conqueror's Haki of the White Lion Xia Xing met his opponent and was blocked by five elders. But the next moment, everyone was shocked. His eyes were shocked. Advertisement. The fifth elder holding the knife persisted for 10 seconds, and his body suddenly shook. Conqueror's Haki's repressive power and the vibrating power of the body made it impossible for him to continue parrying. The whole figure was knocked back out of control. The remaining five elders were equally shocked, and their faces were extremely ugly. However, Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki did not stop the impact, and still covered the five elders. More importantly, he wanted to chase the five elders who went back and directly suppress it. Shoot! Grand Elder shouted solemnly. The five elders who didn't make a move burst out of their entire body. Each one is the same or stronger than the five elders and is extremely powerful. And they no longer hide their own strength, and began to use their own abilities. The four elders armed with Conqueror's Haki covered himself, and his legs were even more soaring with dark blue fireworks. The three elders are also armed with Conqueror's Haki covering themselves, and the special training fist changes on both fists have become black and red. What surprised everyone was that the second elder did not release Conqueror's Haki like the third and fourth elders, but changed into a unicorn under everyone's surprised eyes. The second elder turned out to be an illusion beast species. A unicorn form capable person. Even the people on the world government side were surprised. This is almost the first time that five elders has shown its true strength in front of the world. And under the great elder's aura, the body has undergone a change that everyone did not expect. Elementalization of the great elder. The silver flowing smoothly, it turned out to be a Logia Mercury fruit ability. But now Xia Xing continues to hit the king of Xia Haki. The four elders greeted Conqueror's Haki, who came from Xia Xing, and kicked out slowly. The action was incredibly slow, but it was kicked out in an instant, and the dark blue light shrank instantly, silently colliding with Xia Xing and Conqueror's Haki. At the same time, the three elders punched it out, red light flashed in his eyes, and his hands seemed to have penetrated the space. 6 styles. Slow kick. 6 styles. Quick punch. Advertisement. After the offensive of the third and fourth elders, the yellow flames of the second elder who turned into a unicorn burned, and with the blessing of the armed conqueror's Haki in the body, it turned into a blue flame. After that, the flames and the armed conquerors all condensed in the mouth, like a thunderstorm, almost in the blink of an eye. It has attacked Conqueror's Haki that Xia Xing impacted. And the most direct is the great elder. The whole body is turned into a giant blade. Under the blessing of the armed conqueror's Haki, the silver-white mercury knife is condensed, revealing a dark blue color, and it is extremely tough. Just cut it straight down. It's too late to say, then soon. In the blink of an eye of everyone, five elders' attack has completely landed on Conqueror's Haki that Xia Xing impacted. Boom. Despite being overestimated, the five elders came into contact with Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki and only realized it. It is still underestimated. I never thought that the strength of Xia Xing was so powerful. Among the various visions, the four elders looked gloomy to ultimate. And the white glaring light shines at the collision between five elders and Xia Xing Conqueror's Haki. Thank you for reading this story at hotmtnovel.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Some pirates and marine couldn't bear it directly in the shock of the ground. The scene is even more invisible fluctuations spread. The entire space seemed to tremble violently. The sky and the earth changed. In the darkness, the dark clouds and thunder that had stopped shining in the sky again. But to the relief of the World Government Coalition forces, the five elders shot together and finally took over Xia Xing's conquerors, completely offsetting it. The contest between the White Lion Xia Xing and five elders is really terrible. This kind of power is more terrifying than when everyone went up to attack the White Lion just now. I don't know how much. Whitebeard Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Pluton Rayleigh, Aokiji, Zephyr and others all watched this terrifying confrontation in shock. An aura that truly destroys the world is permeating the surroundings. Under the strong wind, there was a vision that made people feel terrified when they saw it. This tremor is felt even by people watching live broadcasts all over the world. Bubbles with black and white smoke came out of the surging marine, and then the lava on the bottom of the sea burst out. Sakari's, San Admiral, Shin Shichibukai and others all broke out in cold sweats.